Hello, listening people.
Hello.
You're listening to Spin Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I'm Ryan Sliwinski.
And I'm the Bartek.
The Bartek?
Yes.
The one and only Bartek?
Yes.
The Bartek of Spit and Polish?
Yes.
That presents
Yes.
Unappreciated Masterpieces?
Yes.
We call it Spit and Polish, why?
Yes.
That's why, yeah, yes. We call it Spit and Polish because, as the Bartek has given with his very many answers of yes, we are both Polish. Is that not correct, Bartek?
Yes.
And we are both Polish, obviously. That's why we are
Yes.
spitting Polish. No,
Yes.
we're spitting Polish because we're always spitting and we're both Polish. See, we've been telling that comment since the very beginning, and I wondered at any point has there been anyone that connects the whole idea. It's like, spitting Polish, they're Polish, I get it.
There have been a few...
Same spelling, different pronunciations.
There have been episodes where we point out specifically...
Jules is putting our guest. I've already just said our guest. Our guest.
Oh.
No. Shh. Who's our guest? We don't know. But they're already putting their hands over their face like they didn't realize that's what it was all about.
Let's pretend...
They're like, yeah, they didn't say they're Polish this entire time. I thought that was just a fun Easter egg.
Yes, well, there have been episodes where we specifically pointed out.
Not this one, though.
Not this... Well, I mean...
Not this one. This one. This unappreciated masterpiece is brought to you by Poland, where we are from.
A very conservative country, though.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They don't like women's rights in Poland.
I was going to say, are you sure it's not presented by Shoe Polish?
Shoe polish? No. We don't wear shoes.
Nail polish.
Nail polish. Yeah, we wear nail polish on our toes.
They're more against gay rights, Ryan, not
Oh,
women's.
sorry, Poland. So, on this show, Unappreciated Masterpieces, we do feature-length audio commentaries. Is that not right?
We do?
We do.
I mean, yes.
We do commentaries, at least.
Yes.
On society, we just did then, on Poland, at least. And we do films that people say, hey, do you really need to talk about that movie? And we say, hey, who are you? What are you doing in my house? Get out of here. We're doing a commentary on a movie that we think deserves to be talked about because everyone has creative potential, and certain individuals are allowed to express that creative potential in the form of a film.
And if you don't like it, we'll kick your hiney.
Oh, that's foreshadowing. Or is it? Who knows?
Am I going to kick your hiney, Ryan?
Yeah, it's foreshadowing to the next part of what I'm going to say.
Oh, say it. Say it!
You butt. There you go. See?
Oh.
See, your honey butt is all connected. Like every unappreciated masterpiece. Because the thing is, someone put time and effort in to think up a concept. And then that concept was then accepted by a group of sophisticated people, peers. And then that was created and distributed to us, the general mass. And we didn't like it. Or we didn't love it. Or we didn't hate it. We were just... meh about it. And that's what I take fault with. How can we be so apathetic about, a film?
Apathetic is pathetic.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Bartek, what's a film we're not going to show apathy towards this episode?
Today, we're going to show you how pathetic society was with their apathy towards the classic film Wasza Wysokość.
Ah, you mean Your Heiny? My favourite film of
Ryan,
Poland.
could you stop thinking about bums?
Okay. Can I think about dicks, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Ryan, tell the listening people that you don't speak Polish.
I don't speak Polish.
Oh shit, I keep forgetting this. I'm so sorry. Ryan.
Yeah, I know we're both Polish, and
shit.
what we've set up as a show is very complex. There's so many layers of intricacy and jokes and humor and intelligence that everything goes above and below the head,
Ryan,
but straight to the dick.
you had me at head, but then you had me again at dick.
I'm very glad I had you, Bartek.
Ryan, I want you to stop worrying. Because I'm going to
Okay.
tell you what Wasza Wysokość means. Wasza Wysokość means.
What does it mean?
Wasza Wysokość means Your Highness.
Your Highness!
Where?
Oh, it's me.
Oh.
I was referring to myself.
My Highness then, Ryan.
No, I'm third personing.
Oh, okay.
Like Your Highness Ryan is talking right now and about to segue into...
Let's react to the movie being like, oh, it's...
What?
Yeah.
The film Your Highness from 2011?
I think.
I'm pretty sure. I looked at it.
Okay.
Oh no! It was 2011.
Starring Danny McBride.
Starring
and
freaking
James
everyone.
Franco and people Who's our guest? It's Jules Gatto. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, we kind of foreshadowed her earlier in the episode by letting her speak and also me just saying her name. Jules, hi.
Hello.
You're our James Franco expert. You've been on for a single James Franco movie before. And you've been on for Scooby-Doo 2, which I feel like James Franco would have been a villain in or a love interest in. Or both. A villainous love interest in. Can you imagine Scooby-Doo 3 where it's called Franco's Revenge, in which...
He's getting revenge for nothing?
No, because in all those Scooby-Doo
No,
movies...
He's getting revenge for not being in the actual film.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, very
no,
good.
in all the Scooby-Doo films, there are always characters getting revenge for things that happened in another film that we never got to see. You know what I mean? Like in the first movie, it's like, spoiler alert for Scooby-Doo, by the way. It's Scrappy-Doo. And we never meet Scrappy-Doo until they have a flashback scene that's like, hey, he exists. And then in
You have to be a fan
Scooby-Doo...
of the series.
And then in Scooby-Doo 2, it's like, again, another movie happened where it's like some evil mad scientist guy, and then he has to pretend to be Alicia Silverstone, because why wouldn't you? And I feel like James Franco would come in being James Franco, and he's like getting revenge on the fact that his brother Dave Franco is a slightly better actor. And he's like, but Dave Franco's not in the movie at all, ever.
So
like,
he
he's
channels his hate towards the Mystery Inc. gang?
Yeah, because they're the ones who found Dave Franco. Like that's the feel.
Because they're cool like him.
Yeah, Dave Franco's pretty cool. I mean, he's no James Franco, but like he's a better. I think he's a slightly better actor because he's done like less. Like, you know what I mean? By
So
that?
like less
He's got
evidence
He's
against
got
him.
less trash to compare to James Franco, who unfortunately is one of the greatest actors alive today.
Yes.
And I say unfortunately is because sometimes he doesn't choose the best projects. And Your Highness has been argued as one of the worst films ever voted online, according to the trivia.
Online said so.
The whole of the internet, Jules, said that this movie
Majority
was...
of the internet.
No, the whole internet. I was there in 2011, and I was on the internet.
Oh.
And it said, Ryan, do you think Your Highness is the worst? And this is where I committed a crime. I didn't answer.
Oh,
and not answering means, yes, it is.
It's like when you...
Silly me!
It's like an instance of bullying. You're a bystander.
I was a bystander. I was. You know, I'm straight, but like I was a bystander in that instance. Thanks, Jules.
Good joke.
So we are going to watch the 2011 classic Your Highness. We've already listed stars. If you're into fantasy and pot, this movie is half of it's for you. To say the strongest. So we're going to get this underway.
It's from the director of Pineapple Express.
Oh my god, is it?
What, really?
Yeah.
It's advertised on the poster.
It's a real shock that one of the things I found out was when I looked up this film, one of the things was like from the director of Pineapple Express and famous art house director, and it said his name. I'm like, art house director? And I looked him up, and he's done art house movies, and then he leapt to this.
Yeah, he's a director who's known for having made classic indie flicks and then decided to make stoner flicks.
And this is where we're going to get started, guys. So get your copy of Your Highness ready. I imagine all of us have a legal copy of this film available to us.
Well, you are Your Highness, right?
I am My Highness. And you get your copy ready, because I'm going to do a countdown. And at the end of the countdown, I say play. That's when you press play. And you're going to watch this along with us so you know what we're talking about. Of course, this commentary is going to be full of spoilers, because we're getting in deep in this movie. We're going in.
We've already spoiled Scooby-Doo.
We've already spoiled
And the
Scooby-Doo
second
1
one.
and 2 and 3. Spoiler alert, it takes place in space at the end for number 3.
Oh, shit.
And you guys are going to get ready, because we're going to start this in 3, 2, 1, play. So we are now 3 seconds in, which is a great
It clearly says 7 seconds.
7, 8.
I was
So
wrong.
we're here at Universal. This is Universal, yeah?
Yeah, look, there's UNIV.
This is quality
SAL.
commentary. Look,
and there's Africa.
ADI.
No, that's South America, you racist.
And then Universal again.
I'm a geography major.
Oh, sorry.
That country that was right there, that was not Africa, you racist. You just love Africa, okay, Jules? The one thing I know about Jules is she loves Africa. and all the people in it.
I think that country was Africa, Ryan.
It was actually South America.
the country of South America.
Yeah, the country of South America, the continent of Antarctica on the planet America. You know what I mean by all this? So, guys, this universe that the film takes place in is a different one to ours, of course. I just want to say something straight off the bat. The narrator, we find out, is this guy. Because this guy is the narrator of the film. Because the narrator's talking, and then this guy starts talking, and it's the same voice.
Mm-hmm.
And the narrator... I'm already jumping into the in-depth analysis here. The narrator later is the labyrinth that he enters to get the sword. Danny McBride, the whole purpose is they have to get a sword to kill a sorcerer. What I want to know is, why did the evil wizard not only narrate this tale of heroicism, but also become the labyrinth to ultimately give a hero a weapon to stop the evil if he himself was trying to achieve that evil?
Maybe he's the type of evil who, if he can't succeed, no one
No
will
one.
succeed.
I was thinking, is it a curse thing? It's like, if you're the wizard, right, the necromancer, whatever, you get slain in your task, because this seems like it's a thing that is continuous every 100 years. You become the labyrinth for 100 years until a hero steps up to get the sword.
I haven't read the expanded universe.
Yeah, you know, like, you have to see the director's cut. Of course, we're watching the unrated cut of this movie.
It's complicated, you know. Bowie comes into it, and
Yeah, everyone's involved, and
Yeah.
look, I'm very glad that in this universe they got dwarfs to play dwarfs. You know, it's not like Lord of the Rings, in which they just used camera tricks to make Elijah Wood look smaller. They got people with Jack Black's haircut from Gulliver's Travels
I don't know.
to be in this movie.
Their haircuts make them look tall, Ryan. Also, maybe it's a callback to the classic film Terror of Tiny Town.
Terror of Tiny Town? I don't know Terror of Tiny
Why
Town.
do you keep on inviting me to films that constantly have short people?
Because you're short, Jules.
Scrappy,
She's not real.
Scrappy became tall.
I was
No.
going to say Wizard of Oz.
Oh, sorry, you weren't in the first Scooby-Doo
Excuse me,
film.
in the Wizard, and we're already talking about connections here. Before this all gets started,
Seth
this
Green's
is
short.
this is a fantasy movie in which magic takes place, and the last movie we had Jules on was taking place in Oz, which also had magic.
Oz the Magic and Powerful.
Is this the same movie? Maybe. You know, like, maybe this is the other kingdom.
So you're saying that when a prince dies, he becomes a wizard?
I'm also
magician?
saying that it's in the same universe as Saint Trinians because Toby Jones is in both. And yeah, I think in the Saint Trinians movies, he's also dickless. I'm very glad that this movie confirmed to me that Toby Jones has no penis. So I was very worried that he didn't have a penis, that he did have a penis. This movie confirmed, Ryan, you're
Wait,
right.
So which one were you worried about?
I was worried that he had a penis.
Oh, so
And then this
that cheated
movie,
you
this
up.
movie said, "No, Ryan, don't worry about that. We'll confirm for you personally that Toby Jones is with some great shots." So let's go through each of us.
Are we doing the reviews and ratings?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Tits, 10 out of 10.
Yay!
Jules, what do you think of tits? There were lots of them in this movie.
I have them, so...
Where?
Do you? Where? Where are you hiding them, Jules?
In my nether regions.
No!
Not bum tits.
No, not bum tits. Yes, Jules just admitted she doesn't have a vagina. She just has tits
Well,
down
hold
there.
on, I was talking about bums, Ryan.
Well, I was talking about. She said nether regions.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more than one.
Doesn't it refer to bums?
She has more than one nether region. She just confirmed.
Oh, toes.
Tit
toes.
Breaking news, guys. Jules just confirmed. This has been confirmed. I don't want to confirm this myself, but I have to say it's been confirmed. There's a possibility of an extreme likeliness of confirmation that Jules has more than one nether region. Hashtag Jules has more than one nether region. Confirmed.
Nethergate. No, hashtag Nethergate.
Nethergate. Nethergate gate, you know?
Navigate Twitter for Nethergate.
So, no, what I was going to say was, what's our histories with this movie? Bartek?
I saw it for the first time yesterday before I finished an assignment.
Why did you see it?
Because we are doing it for the show, and I needed to make sure that you weren't just pulling my leg, which is a nether region of sorts. You weren't pulling my leg about the fact that this is an unappreciated masterpiece, even though I had heard of this film and heard that while it's not very popular, some people do like it.
It's not popular like James Franco in the film.
It's
popular.
Sometimes I bring up on this show that I've listened to the internet show Midnight Screenings.
You listen to it, not watch it, huh? Interesting.
It's
a visual medium.
I sometimes watch it too, okay?
Well, I'm masturbating. I've got to have something wrong.
But in it, they never did an episode on Your Highness. But he would often... Brad, the guy in charge of the side, would often bring up the fact that he was one of the few people that did actually like Your Highness.
Well, I'm glad someone liked it, because that brings me on to my history, and my one's tumultuous.
You're the bystander, Ryan.
I saw this movie at the end of high school. I remember very, very vividly. It was like the very beginning of like the holidays or the ending time.
Post-exams?
Post-exams.
Yep.
Finished that. And one of my friends, who's clearly insane, like we all have insane friends, she likes movies purely based on what actor, director they like. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. The person who's like, Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland is great. And I'm like, did you watch it? And they're like, it is great. It's got Tim Burton in it. And he made it, and Johnny Depp's in it. I'm like, okay. And she was a big fan of James Franco. Big fan. Huge fan of the Franco. And this was a thing, an event was created for us to watch this movie as a group to celebrate the fact that we had just finished our exams. And I was
sure you weren't celebrating James Franco?
We always celebrate James Franco. You don't need an event for that. It's a lifestyle. And I had to go over to my friend's house, and she lives very, very, very far away. In the same town, but like she lives in the bush, so you have to like navigate and pretty much hike your way and all that. And we're sitting in her house watching this movie, and she's the only one laughing. No one else, including myself, laughed. I didn't find this film funny when I first watched it. I felt it lacked a lot of jokes, a lot of humor. And that was my downfall. Ever since then, I've been spiraling since. I made a big mistake. Almost as big as they make Zooey Deschanel's breasts in this movie, which are huge for some reason. I've seen her in other films and TV shows. Her breasts are not this big in those. I'm just saying. Look at them now. I mean, I'm very surprised. But yes, that was my epic story. A tragedy. And today, I'm willing to make amends to Franco and the filmmakers involved. Have another go at this film. I watched it again with a smile on my face. I laughed. I cried. I felt.
Time has changed you.
Time has healed wounds inside of me, Jules.
A wound you didn't even know existed.
Well, it's internal, so you can never really know. Jules, what do you internally?
Inside you internally?
Yeah, like internal. Like it's inside her internal.
That's a bit redundantly redundant.
No, it's like, internally you have a stomach.
Yes.
Well, what's inside that?
Food, dummy.
Yeah, but there's other things, but that's what I mean. Inside, internal. Because your stomach is internally inside you, yeah? But what's inside that? See, that's what I'm asking.
Food.
A babushka doll.
A babushka doll.
Oh.
Of James Franco. Of James Franco. And inside that is like James Franco. Dave Franco, yeah. And inside that is like it keeps
Dave Franco's food.
Dave Franco's stomach. And it just keeps going.
Stomach full of his sperm.
Is Alison Brie, but let's not.
Guys, the funny face scene.
No.
Okay, you missed a triangle face.
In fact, I missed it the first time I watched it too. Jules, what is your history with this amazing film?
Well, I watched it a long time ago. It was one of those things where I went over to a friend's house.
2011, was it?
Well, yeah, around that. It wouldn't have been before that, would it?
You might have got an early screening.
That's true.
Oh, like I did.
Jules knows a lot of people.
I do.
She's connected.
She knows me.
Yay!
And that's enough? So you're saying you saw this a while ago?
Yeah, at a friend's house. That's the first time I saw it, and it was kind of one of those, oh, what do you want to watch? I don't care, let's just pull this out and watch it. Same thing, didn't really care for it that much. And then I watched it
Again. For this?
Yes.
The smile on her face, she cried.
If you could see Jules smile right now, it would make you think what's inside you internally. You know, it's that good. So, talking about something that looks like that's something inside of you, Toby Jones is on the screen just currently, or just a moment ago. What do we think of him as an actor? He's an actor that's appeared in everything. He's in the Marvel movies, he's in Harry Potter. I already mentioned he's in Saint Trinians. He's in Harry Potter, yeah? Yes, he's Dobby. Nailed this.
Oh, right, yeah. When we
Last time we had Toby Jones on the show, on it, like he was here, I was saying he was in the Harry Potter movies, and I was told, no, he's not. I'm right. Just want to prove that now while we're still got him.
Wasn't it that when we had Lauren on, who we always have on when there's Harry Potter actors, we didn't mention it in the episode because we didn't realise, and then afterwards we had that argument, so it probably wasn't on the show?
Well, listen to Saint Trinians 2, Legend of Fritton's Gold, to find out if I mentioned Toby Jones. So, what do we think of him as an actor? We've seen him in much?
I've seen him in... Well, now that you mentioned Dobby, that makes it up to maybe 5 films I can think of I've seen with him.
I've seen him dickless, Ryan, so I've seen them all.
Yes.
What were the 5 things? So we got Saint Trinians 1 and 2.
The 2 Harry Potters, and then the 3 movies we've
Is
done
he
on the
only
show.
in 2 Harry Potters?
Yeah, he's in the second one and then the second last one. But in the books, Dobby's in almost all of them.
Yeah. Weird. I thought he was
Yeah.
in more.
That's a weird change they made for the movie.
Fuck you, movies.
Because
Screw your perfect casting of the kids. I don't care.
Because the idea was that, like, you see Dobby throughout all the books, and then when he, spoiler alert, dies, it's more sad.
But it was sad.
As opposed to, hey, remember this guy from 2003 or whatever?
Yeah, but he was memorable. He was the first
was,
real CGI character you had in those films.
Yeah, that's a good
Fully
point.
CG.
How dare you undercut that sock scene?
How dare you undercut his stab wound because he got stabbed to death? How dare you? He got
Wait,
stabbed.
did I undercut it?
Yeah, you.
Oh.
You're undercutting. Chamber
in
of
the
Secrets.
film?
Fuck
It's
you.
because
Chamber of
it's more
Secrets is.
memorable in the books.
Chamber of Secrets is my favorite of the films.
I didn't say it wasn't memorable. I just said
It's
that
the
he
best
didn't-
one. It has spiders in it. You remember the spider
Oh,
scene?
Not the spiders.
Not the spiders. And it has the 2-headed dog. Was that? That was in the second one.
It was a
3-headed.
three-headed dog in the first one, Ryan.
Oh, it's not in the
It was
second
that
one.
Cerberus.
Oh, that's in the first one, not the second one. Fuck, I'm already fucking this. Oh, they're the same movie. You know it. So this
Well, that
is.
means that you like both.
So wait.
then.
So you've seen him in Saint Trinians 1 and 2. That's 2 films.
Yep. the
Harry
two-
Potter 1 and 2.
Yep.
2 films. And then this. That's 5.
That's the 5 that I can think
You haven't
of.
watched any of the Captain America movies?
I've seen Winter Soldier.
He's in that.
Who was he?
He was the evil computer that told him the entire
yeah,
plan.
That's true.
That was, in Captain America Winter Soldier, the bit in which you find out, spoiler alert, that Hydra is in fact S.H.I.E.L.D. all along. He goes to this underground base with his old computer with a Nazi inside of it. He was in the first movie as a Nazi. It's not like he just randomly went, hey, you know who we need as a Nazi computer? Toby Jones. Like, that's the only guy. So you've seen him in 6 movies.
Well, I mean, I heard him in one.
No.
I
They
guess.
use facial recognition. Well, you could say you only heard him in the Harry Potter movies.
That's
He's
the
not physically
point.
there. Far out, Bartek.
Okay, but right, if I recognize someone physically, then that's 3 movies now.
Well, he looks like Dobby, doesn't he?
He looks a bit more like the Emperor from Star Wars.
I thought he meant the Emperor from Harry Potter. You remember the Emperor from Harry
No,
Potter?
I just realized I'm like, I should be more specific.
Expelliarmus.
And just like I said back in the Big Stand episode, I mean when he was Palpatine in the prequels, not just in the robes.
Oh,
Look at the dance.
Jules, you dance, I imagine. Is he a
Sure.
good dancer?
Tremendous.
I like that cake they have because it's like
Looks like a bunch of-
18 different cakes
it looks
stacked
like
on
a
top of each
bunch
other.
of cheese. Like
Is it cheese?
it looks like cottage cheese.
I thought it
It
was-
looks like camembert.
Oh my god, it's marshmallows. Who would have guessed?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, it's the guy from Homeland. Just fun fact. I love that actor, Damian Lewis. He's playing a guy who's clearly not gay.
You hear that, guys? Ryan loves him.
I love him. I don't like Homeland, oddly enough, which is the one thing people know him from. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan, man. So here's Zooey Deschanel in a scene. Zooey Deschanel. Even in the Middle Ages, she still gets bangs.
Because you can't avoid the bangs.
Have you had bangs?
Yes, as a small child.
She had to look. Jules had to
Did you get
look up to
abused?
the roof. Look up to the roof. Gaze away and go, yes, as a small child. It's like if I asked her, have you got banged? And you were like, yes, like haunted by
See,
I
I
asked
was-
if, have you had bangs?
See, I was going for a domestic abuse joke.
Jeez, Bartek, I'm going for a sex joke here. Jeez, it's not a joke if it's true, alright, guys? Calm down. So, Bartek, have you had bangs? Because guys can have them too.
Yes, when I was younger.
When I was a small child.
Way back when.
When I was a small Franco. Hey, your hair right now, Bartek, looks exactly like James Franco's
Oh
hair.
shit. Yeah,
Far
my
out.
mum keeps telling me I need a haircut.
And I look like the guy from Horrible Histories that's in this movie. I don't know why he's in this movie.
Ryan and I, we both pointed him out before we did this episode for different reasons.
He's the guy from Horrible Histories that plays the Viking characters a lot and plays all the great characters in the TV show Horrible Histories.
Whereas for me, he looked very much like the tallest trapper from the film Cannibal the Musical by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park.
No, I thought you were going to say the creators of Basketball. That's
Of-
what they're famous for.
Yeah, not Book of Mormon or South Park.
Fuck that! Basketball. So,
Team America.
the plot of this movie, guys, is very intrinsic to that of a fantasy. Because this is, of course, a Pineapple Express version of a fantasy story. It's what happens if we did get the stoners of today, James Franco, Danny McBride, and stick them in a fantasy story.
Let's be honest, Zooey Deschanel too.
Well, I did see the happening, and she was high as shit in that.
I saw Yes Man, and in that film, you know, people would have to say yes to my questions.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah, man.
She's been on the show, hasn't she?
I don't
Zooey
think
Deschanel.
so.
Far out. It's been too long.
I feel like she'd fit in Band Slam, but you know.
yeah, as the drug dealer. Imagine the drug dealer that was cut from the movie.
Well, there were no drugs in that film.
Exactly, cut.
It was a Disney film, right? It was.
They've had
I
drugs
mean,
in Disney movies.
They wanted it to be like, you know, the High School Musical.
So
I was gonna say they've had actors who have taken drugs.
every actor's taken drugs, Jules.
Specifically in
So-
Band Slam.
We've all had brothers that wanted us to be their best man, and we've decided to literally run around with sheep.
I've got a younger brother.
You can still be his best man. Isn't James Franco the younger brother in this?
Because my younger brother would be my best man.
James
Oh, for
Franco's
older.
the older brother.
Fuck. It's in real life, one's older. What did you say, Julesies?
I said because my younger brother would be my best man too.
Yeah, wouldn't he? Why aren't I your best man? I would
'Cause you're
not
not the
show up
best.
to the wedding and run around with sheep. And then we can go on a quest in which
Is this
that's never
because
brought up.
We still need to discover what my nether regions consist of.
Legs. We already talked about this
No,
with
it's
Bartek.
toes.
Toes and breasts. That's where it all
What
started.
about knees? Knees are important.
No, you only have the back of knees.
Okay.
Like no fronts. So this
Yeah.
film is. Let's just break down the plot for those who are a bit lost. That woman just clutched her chest. Good acting.
It implies that she's a virgin. It's a joke, Ryan.
No, it implies that she's having a heart attack.
They grab their arm, Ryan, not their chest.
It implies that
That's
she
where the
actually-
heart is, Bartek, in the chest.
The heart's
implies
in
she
the...
actually has breasts.
No, she didn't grab her breast.
Wait,
she
Ryan-
had flat chest.
Ryan, you do know that they do grab their arms, right?
What? The heart isn't in the
They
arm.
don't grab... They grab their
Where is
arms.
this guy coming from?
When-
The heart's in the arm. What a
The heart's not in the
loser.
arm, but, like, people that have heart attacks, they grab their arms.
But she was grabbing her chest, Bartek. I didn't see the cut scene where she grabbed her arm.
Oh, was she going towards her arm, but, like, it cut
Yeah,
away
man.
before she got there?
Oh my god, I like how he has 3 mums. It's already hard enough having one. Never explained why he has 3 mums either. It's
Wait.
just like, take it.
If he ever says, my mum's a bitch, do they all get upset, or do they all, like, accuse each other of being a
That's a
bitch?
question for another day.
It's the big mystery.
So the plot of this movie, for you guys, if you're lost, is very, very easy to understand. There's
Because
a
it's
prophecy.
based on, old fantasy films.
There's a prophecy in which an evil wizard will impregnate a virgin, I think.
Isn't it? No, it's just that he loses his virginity in the fucking, right?
No, that's for him specifically, I think. I think it's just he has to have sex and and impregnate a woman. So on the eclipse of the 2 moons, you remember this, yeah. Eclipse of the 2 moons, so that he can impregnate her easier with magic, and she can give birth to a dragon that he will control, allegedly. I'm very happy that the movie brings up the fact that, does he? And our heroes must stop this from happening, because dragons, if Game of Thrones has taught us anything, are bad.
Yep.
Pretty much. And James Franco is the best prince in the land and best adventurer, and he has to bring his dopey brother along with him. And they go on shenanigans.
But specifically, he wants to bring him.
Yeah, no, he wants to.
Yeah.
He really loves him. James Franco is really straight-faced in this movie, oddly enough. I think that's...
God, that shot right there, he looked a bit like Keanu Reeves.
He is him. They're both woeing. So, Danny McBride is a loser. He learns to become a winner. And that's the film for you. I know I missed some complexities. There was no Minotaur dick referenced in that synopsis, but it's a poignant thing.
Well, synopses shouldn't have spoilers, so that's good.
Yeah, some do, though.
So, yeah.
Like-
I guess if a spoiler happens very early in the film, it's kind of unavoidable. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
the apocalypse happens.
No, it's like you say the character's name, Thaddeus. Spoiler! I didn't need to know that.
no.
Like, I wanted to see that in the cinema. Jesus. Now I'm going to cut my wrist because I don't want to know anything anymore. Bartek.
Yeah.
Here's the title of the film. It's too much.
I go in wanting to see generic film 14.
You have to be subtle like me when I said your hiney multiple times.
Your what?
Your hiney.
You know this film is very much Game of Thrones when they literally have Tywin Lannister as their dad. With a wig.
That's a fun fact for all of you who don't know about Game of Thrones, like me.
Oh, well, I'll make it easier for you. That's Charles Dance. That's his real name, Charles Dance. He's
Why
not a
isn't
dancer.
he dancing?
He's not a dancer. He was in the movie Alien 3.
So I suppose one thing we should point out about Charles Dance is that in this film,
He's their dad. Wait, can we just... The guy from Horrible Histories just made a joke that I really liked. People putting armor on him, and he's looking at himself through his dagger, like reflected in his dagger.
Mm-hmm.
But he was looking at the dagger the wrong way around. Like, he didn't have it like flat against him. He had it like
he was facing the sharp part.
the sharp edge towards him.
Okay.
It's like, how's he looking?
Was he?
As in the part with the least amount of surface
There
area.
was no surface
Maybe he
there.
wanted to look at the ceiling, but not turn his head up.
Yeah. So you about to say something magical about it?
Charles Dance. So we point out that this film is in the vein of the stoner comedies.
Yeah.
But Charles Dance is one of the characters in this film who plays it rather straight.
Yeah.
So that's something worth acknowledging. The fact that this is a very bizarre world, but here is a very not bizarre man.
I have a very serious question now. That we've had fun times and joking, but now it's time to crack down.
Okay.
Okay, put your erections down, girls.
Steven's here.
Steven's here. For a stoner comedy, did you expect there to be any pot humor in the movie? And were you surprised that there was literally one scene of it in the movie?
Well, here's my thing. I walked into this film pretty much only knowing that it's a Danny McBride film.
Called Your Highness.
Called Your Highness. And the high thing actually went over my head.
Oh, good. It went high above.
Yes,
Look, her breasts. It's ludicrous. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay. I didn't
Since
know.
when?
What do you mean?
As in, since when were they ever that big?
They've never been that big before
Oh,
or
I thought
after.
I thought she was being like, since when's that ludicrous?
Since when's it ludicrous? But no, seriously. Like, I've watched her in many other things. They're really working her breasts in this. That's why it made me think of the film Big Stan. Because in that movie, they used prosthetic breasts on one of the women.
Oh, yeah.
In that, I looked
main
up
woman.
all the facts. No facts have been given about the prosthetic of breasts in this because they're a lot larger. But then in other scenes, they're really small and flat, like normal.
Just
like, no offense, but that's just what they are.
Lots of padding.
So much, I guess.
So much padding.
Alright, guys, remember, we're in serious times.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
serious times. So we're talking
So
about
I-
stoners and comedies, and you didn't get
walked-
Your Highness.
I walked into this film, I missed the double entendre of the Highness thing being like, oh, royalty, and also you're being high, like on drug.
No, really.
And wouldn't it be weird if they spelled it "your" as in "you are"?
You know, fun fact, when I went to Google this film to
You
go-
wrote it as that, didn't you?
No, my keyboard didn't register the Y-O. So it was like, you are Highness. I'm like, oh, it still works. It still gave me what I wanted. I didn't think of that, and it was brilliant.
So you we keep interrupting you. So
Yes. Well, you interrupted me too.
Sorry, go on.
You obsessed with tits.
I said
No, I was accusing Ryan, not you,
I said
Jules.
we keep interrupting you.
Oh.
You just went, it's only you. Jules apologizing. You're like, I forgive you, but it's Ryan who's really interrupting.
It's because you have a history.
Oh.
A horrible
That
history.
is racist.
So look, I actually didn't know that this was set in the Middle Ages until I watched it. So I walked into this quite blind.
Yeah, he did.
So, and because I missed the whole high entendre, it was really bizarre when I read about this film afterwards and said, this is a stoner version of a fantasy film. I'm like, was it?
Was it? Yeah, good question.
No one was high. I mean, people did smoke things, and
James Franco's about to do it.
I guess you could argue with the sheep scene and this upcoming scene with the nice man, that there was some stoner humor, but I wouldn't call it really a stoner fantasy film.
No, I wouldn't call it stoner comedy.
There are more rocks than there are stoners.
Wow, that's great because this scene just happened.
Look at the silly face.
No.
Now look at that silly face.
I think that's the thing that really weakened this film. It's called. Wait a moment. I'm gonna stop. Even just there, Jules. I'm gonna look you dead in the eyes right now. Bartek thought a film called Your Highness was not set in the medieval ages.
I was thinking.
Like,
Is that weird?
what do you think?
You know that
okay.
there's
First off, one, he didn't get the double entendre. Okay, that's fine. It's a bit it's a bit clever, but then you're really tripping me where you're like, it's called Your Highness. I didn't think it was gonna be set medieval times. Like, I
You know
hear
that
what you're
there's
gonna be like. There's royalty now.
Yeah.
But what genre of film exists about the modern royalty? Like, you know what I mean by that?
Well, comedies are always all over the place, so they could have been anywhere with their royalty.
Yeah, but I know you're making justifications, but Jules
are
understood what I
they-
meant.
It's like
And
going into year one and thinking that it's in 2001.
It could have been when I would have loved.
To be
I would have loved to watch a
year
Michael.
one's setting was kind of all over the place.
I would have liked Michael Cera to be in a 9/11 movie comedy, in which he was the pilot and he accidentally spilled his coffee on his pants, and he's like, no, that's not Michael Cera. He would be
guys,
like,
the wise wizard
he
of
would
the Zen.
spill coffee in his pants and be like, oh jeez, and crash into the towers.
I am not equipped for this.
I'm not equipped
I
for
don't
this.
think-
And then you have subtitles that have like internal struggle come up from the screen. It's like,
I don't think Michael Cera would say "Geez."
no, he does. You've never watched Arrested Development, have you?
No, I haven't.
He says it a lot in that.
Oh, well, there you go.
And think 2001 Michael Cera, definitely.
Ryan, what did you think of Wise with a Z wizard?
I really like the fact that they used a practical effect for him, like he was a puppet.
Kind of like Yoda.
Yeah. Here's a question that I think I need answering. How does he clip his nails?
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe. Oh no! I got the answer. Magic motherfucker.
That's a quote from the film, in case you weren't aware. What did I think of the pedophile? I love the
Which
pedophile.
pedophile? What pedophile?
James Franco.
Oh.
You know that, right? You know James
no,
Franco's
really?
been accused of underage sexting and shit like that. Because
he?
he tried to organise a sex date with a 15-year-old Scottish girl when he was over in Scotland.
Yep.
We talked about this on the Wizard of Oz one that we did.
Yep.
Okay, then I shouldn't be surprised, but I guess I forgot.
I love, you shouldn't be surprised. Correct. There's an interview with Dave Franco in which I think it's Conan O'Brien is just like showing him photos of what James Franco's doing at that time in his life, and it's like James Franco's posting selfies of himself where he's like showing pretty much all of his body naked except for he's like got a bit covering his dick and all of this stuff, and him with like body pillows.
And that was the paintings time too.
And the way he was doing all these weird paintings and all that.
I
And he
did-
actually said to Dave, what's happening with your brother? And Dave, genuinely nice guy, just breaks that nicety and just is like, I I really don't know. like he sounds.
Sorry, but I can't give you an answer.
I did find it very funny when I read the IMDb trivia, and it said that James Franco had to fly between
Because he was doing
Los
full-time
Angeles
study.
and Belfast because he was doing college classes full time
Aw.
Yeah, and he finished it. What a legend.
in 2011.
What a highness. I like how we never see the compass open again. In fact, we never see it used ever again, except for opening something.
Wasn't there one where it's...
Well, like, it gets stolen, but, like, it never gets used. They never open it up and be like, ha ha ha.
I could have sworn there was one occasion, but you've seen this film twice.
I've seen it thrice
And
this time,
is
right?
your thrice time. Try rum.
Are you okay?
He's having a
Do
stroke.
we need to hold your arm?
Bartek, hold your arm. You're having a heart attack. No, Ryan, I'm going to hold my chest. That's where my heart is. Makes logical sense, Bartek. Bartek's holding his nose because he's having a penis
Why are you
attack.
making shit up, Ryan?
When I get jerked off, I want you to hold the shaft and punch the knob like this pedophile here does.
Let's go back to the film. Ryan, how did you like the way he speaks?
Yeah, I felt like it's surprising, actually, that Dave Franco's brother James and Danny McBride both kept their accents through the movie.
I was talking about the wizard.
I know you were. I just didn't want to answer you.
I was going to say that
He sounded like Cheech Marin.
I was going to say that he didn't sound like him, but he reminded me of... You know how Trey Parker has that kind of voice that you really recognize in South Park?
Yeah, that one?
That one, yeah. No, the way he speaks... He has this, like, inflection that I think all of his characters have, and I felt like this wizard here kind of was going close to that inflection, and in fact, if that wizard was played by Trey Parker, then I think it also
Who
would
is the
work.
new villain in Despicable Me 3?
Trey Parker is?
Yeah.
That's good. That he's
Does
doing
it shows you that
No.
even the the most criticalist of humorists today also like to sell out.
Well, I mean, Ryan, he's trying to break into the voice acting industry,
Oh, good.
the animation industry.
He hasn't been doing that for years.
Has he?
This reminds me very much of My Friday Nights Out, in which Jules cuts open an animal and makes me eat its heart for a practical joke, and I never learn.
Yes, Daenerys Targaryen.
No, this is before that. This inspired Game of Thrones.
I get that.
You get that? You do get how Danny McBride is Daenerys?
Yes.
I want to see his tits.
Do you want to see him emerging naked out of the flames?
That's the best part of Game of Thrones, is not only that every season she's naked, but every time a season pops around, Emilia Clarke has a big feminist rant about, like, I am not getting naked anymore because I'm more respectable than that. And
think
then
it's a
she
bit
gets
more than,
naked.
Come on, guys. Get your dicks out.
No, I mean, Kevin Bacon addressed that, but my favorite thing is, like, she just keeps as an actress being like, I'm not gonna do it, and then repeatedly does it more and more. I think it's like a tactic for the audience to be like, oh, I'm not gonna get it this time round. Oh my god, there it is! Like, you gotta keep them interested. Like, that's it.
For all the Harry Potter fans out there, the first word he says is Hufflepuff in this shot.
No, that's not for the Harry Potter fans. That's for the Saint Trinians fans, Bartek.
Is it?
For all the Harry Potter fans, you're gonna see him with no clothes on in a minute, and that's for you. If you want to see Dobby with no dick, you're getting it.
I'm just trying to spread awareness
Why
for
are
the...
you guys reacting to the fact that I keep mentioning that he has no dick in this movie? I can't get over the fact that they show him dickless.
Because
in it.
Ryan, we're waiting for you to bring up the mechanical bird.
Okay, I really like Steven the Lizard. He's my favorite character. Just saying. Jules,
He
you're
is
in a
pretty
favorite
good.
character? Was it Steven? Spelled with a V? In case you wanted to be like, is it PH? No, it's a V backwards. Because it's medieval times.
A mirrored V.
A mirrored
Are
V.
you sure it's not upside down too?
I mean, then it'll be a carrot.
A mirrored... Can I just say, a mirrored V sounds like the best sexual band name ever. Like, Jules is the front woman for Mirrored V, in which the band would wear nothing. Like, they would wear nothing but, like, a shard of mirror on, like, over their nether regions.
Oh, God.
And it's in the shape of a V.
A single shard over all their nether regions, Ryan?
A singular. Yeah.
Even though there are multiple nether.
Well, it can cover. You didn't hear how big it was, did you?
How do you cover both the vavoo and the bum bum?
You know, the bum's already covered. Like, you don't see the butthole
Just
usually because
don't-
of the cheeks.
Just don't turn around.
Not only that, don't turn around, bend over, and then spread your ass cheeks out for them to see the butthole. I mean, you know what I mean by that? Don't do Jules. No matter what the creepy guy in the alley says to you.
Oh,
And that creepy guy is Toby Jones. Look at this. I like Danny McBride really wanted to make sure his eyes were
Oh my
open
god, look,
to
Ryan, he
this.
has no dick. Did you notice that the first 2 times you watched it?
I actually didn't. I thought that he had a big horse dick. I'm glad that we could see Toby Jones's
I
butthole.
Are we
thought he had
watching-
a small figurine of Dobby there.
He did.
How's it hanging? Like,
How's it
By string
hanging,
or
bro?
With super glue.
And were you guys surprised by this plot twist that they all are working for the bad guy whose name is Lazar?
I kind of was, yeah.
I wasn't. I mean, I saw it already once, but like
But the first time you watched it, when you were
the
not laughing?
first time, I'll be honest, I was also not surprised because it's Damian Lewis, and he's always a bad guy.
Oh, you're cheating again, Ryan.
Cheating by using your brain. Fuck.
Fucking Gabriel Byrne effect.
It's the Gabriel Byrne effect, in which every time you see Gabriel Byrne in something, it's always like, surprise, he's a villain. I'm like, surprise, I guessed, because he's always a villain, except for like in Miller's Crossing, and even then he's an anti-hero. So, Bartek, you're a newcomer. Jules and I were experts, and Jules is a Franco spurt, you know, which sounds dirtier
Franco
than it needs
spurt
to be.
sounds like something that like teenagers will go through.
It sounds like something James Franco gives to you. He's Franco spurt. It's a sexual. Oh no, Stephen!
Oh no.
I'm glad bearded dragons were a big thing back then. So, Bartek, you're a newcomer.
Dude, what if the dragon that Lazar gets is
Was
Steven?
a bearded dragon that came out and
No,
it was like
Steven. It was Steven specifically.
What if it was a dragon with a beard?
Don't you like that Chinese people were here for the Middle Ages to be a part of the evil wizard's army? I'm very glad that representation's being shown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to say about it was you're new to this film and its universe.
I'm not new to this show, though. Hey.
Okay. Jules, you're new to the show.
No, she's not. She was in
Relatively.
like...
She's new host now if you don't shut up.
She was like... She debuted just after a dozen episodes, Ryan. She's not new.
A baker's dozen. So, what I was going to say about it was this universe. It's a comedy. We've talked about comedies a lot before on the show. This comedy is a bit different, though, to something like Year One. It has gruesome violence, special effects that are pretty A-grade. It has A-grade dong humor. It has mysteries. It has a plot. What was some of the things about that really struck with you? You know, was there something that really stood out or surprised you even? Other than it was set in the medieval ages and that it was a stoner comedy, that it wasn't actually a stoner comedy.
Hold on a second. This is set in the medieval ages?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I thought this was in 2001 as well. Yeah.
No, that's Year One, Ryan.
Fuck.
Shit.
Like you did mention the whole thing about the dicks.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It had good dick humor. You said that.
Oh, A-grade dong humor was the exact thing I.
Ah.
Yeah.
I said that to both you and Jules when getting ready for this. I'm like, oh, this film has A-grade dong humor. It does.
So,
I have, proof of that.
so even,
What is... I have proof of that. Like
feel free
I
to
have
interrupt me. Let's go with that.
I have a dong. I have proof.
Is that the nether region?
No,
No.
Oh.
that's on her face.
Okay.
So you were saying?
I know that it's a common notion in Hollywood films that, yeah, you can show dicks, but you can't really show vaginas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Despite that, I don't think I see all that many, like, actual dick jokes in films, despite the fact that they are more
You don't go out to
accepted.
films.
Maybe I've just been missing them and watching the wrong films. I've been watching the non-dick films.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was really...
You haven't seen Baywatch then?
The new Baywatch?
Yeah.
Does it
There's
have
a
dick joke?
5-minute dick sequence in which somebody gets their dick trapped in a what you call it, sunbathing chair.
Yeah?
They get it trapped in that, and for 5 minutes it's them smacking their dick trying to get it out of there. Yeah.
Sounds like
Or what
great-
about the scene in the new Baywatch where this is true. Zac Efron has to go to the morgue
Oh, that one.
and he jerks a dead guy's dick because Dwayne the Rock Johnson's a dick and tells him to do it.
I was gonna say, what about American Pie? Like,
I mean, he fucks a pie, but you don't actually see dicks as much in that.
oh yeah.
You see more
true.
titties.
Yeah, funny
You
thing.
see more puss in that.
What about the super glue? No.
Yeah, I guess.
Funny thing with
Feels so disappointed. Yeah, you proved me right there.
Funny thing with the Baywatch thing is because that's a movie based off of an old property.
Not as old as the medieval ages, but yeah.
It isn't.
No.
Well, that just ruins my point. No, so I was at a high school recently, teaching year 7 classes.
Yeah, he was there. He was there legally, unlike James Franco would be.
Yes, legally.
We just need to clarify that.
yeah.
We've already brought up pedophilia.
Thanks for watching my back, Ryan. And I remember one of the things my supervisor said was she was pulling out examples of something related to mime, and I can't remember what it was, but she related it to Baywatch.
I'm glad somebody did.
And I hadn't heard of the fact that there was a new Baywatch film. I was like, why are you telling these 13-year-olds like references to this really?
Because they've also watched Borat.
Right. They would have been like 4 years old when Borat came out, so they would have seen
That's
it. True.
depressing.
Yeah, I know. But I was also going to say the fact that this is a comedy. We've mentioned multiple times. See, this is what I was thinking of.
Oh shit! You're right. There's a shot.
And I think what you were mistaken of, Ryan, was that this is probably the same day as when they got it. So
Yeah.
it probably like stuck out in your head. Regarding it being a comedies, you specifically, Ryan, on this show have mentioned multiple times, and I think recently you've mentioned it in both of the Man films. The House films. I fucked up.
You know, the film based on the TV show House with Hugh Laurie. I love
No.
those films.
I meant Bringing Down the House and Man of the House.
Yeah, I don't see what I said was wrong.
You mentioned in those episodes and multiple ones before it how there are older types of films from, earlier last decade and before where they were more written
Comedies, yeah.
written comedies, and then there were the improvised comedies that came after, which are more like this film,
yeah.
Year One,
Any Will Ferrell comedy you can name.
Yep.
I almost called it the Due Date. What's the Guilt Trip? I don't know what else.
No, Due Date is the film you're thinking of.
No, I said Jew, as in like Jewish.
You fucking racist.
Jew's not a race.
It's a culture.
Those are the more improvised ones, and I feel like when we bring that up, we're kind of bringing this notion that improvised comedies, aren't as good or can't be good. But I think this film stands as a testament that these improvised comedies can do just fine.
Yeah, like this guy improvised eating shit. And that reminds me of Year One when Jack Black literally had to eat shit as well.
Yep.
That's true. With this script, they did write a script, Jules, and the director said,
In quotes, they wrote a script.
the director said, we never had a copy of the script on set because we didn't need it.
Because it was unfinished, wasn't it?
Because they were just like, screw it, let's just.
busy smoking it.
They were just they would have had it on set to smoke it, Jules. Jeez, I just said they didn't bring it on because they improvised their way through it.
And I watched over 5 minutes of bloopers of this film on YouTube, and
how can you do a blooper if there is no script?
And indeed, there were many blooper flubs of lines that were not in the final film.
Classic.
Including a conversation in which Charles Dance kind of breaks that playing it straight way
Exterior.
of acting. Exterior, that's a good word. And they have a conversation about how one of Danny McBride's biggest fuck ups. What's his name? Theroux?
Fabian. No.
They have very similar names, these brothers.
Fabius and Thaddeus.
Where one of Thaddeus's big fuck-ups was that apparently he, burnt down a village in the south or something.
Yeah.
And Charles Dance kept, building upon it, like, you did this, they were good for this. And then Danny McBride's Thaddeus says, but it was full of Mexicans.
Oh,
and it made Charles Dance kind of,
uncomfortable.
I don't know uncomfortable, but it kind of made him not know how to continue that joke.
Because there is no continuation.
He actually broke it. He's they're full of what? And that was kind of the end of that.
And that was the end of that blooper reel.
Well, it
Jules?
was the end of that. In fact, that was the only thing that he was in the blooper reel of.
Oh, Jules, your favourite part.
Tits.
She doesn't have tits.
Where
They're
are
covered by
tits?
hair. Whatever is beneath the hair, we don't know until
Ryan,
the town of tits. Oh my god, I see some nips.
We have dick
Oh, no.
jokes. We have fake dicks. We have actual drawn tits.
We have yet even to mention the real fact that Natalie Portman rocks up in this movie to be semi-naked.
Was it Natalie Portman or Keira Knightley?
Nat Portman.
Nat Portman.
I know my
Oh.
Bend It Like Beckham's from my V from Vendettas. Jeez. Far out, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ryan not continuing the running joke.
That was different this time round. Because you know how I noticed it was different this time round?
Hi, Ryan.
She didn't kick a soccer ball.
Ah.
Yeah, like Keira Knightley would do that for me. And I
She
find
didn't-
Keira Knightley hotter. So, there
Keira
we
Knightley
go.
didn't kick a soccer ball in Thunderpants.
No.
Every time I mention that Music Academy,
Keira Knightley rocked up in the film Thunderpants. It's the closest she ever got to being in a Harry Potter movie. Because Ron Weasley's the star of that, one of the stars. So, Jules, you're a woman. How did it feel? Presumably, by the lack of tits and the many nether regions. But the lots of back of knees. Now, this town, how did it make you feel when it's like, oh yes, a town of...
it's more of a fort.
No, it's indicated that they live in the forest, so it's like a forest town. Like a forest dwelling.
It kind of reminds me of
My life.
no, Futurama.
Futurama with the snoo snoo?
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I wish they got snoo snooed in this episode too. Oh, I got snoo snooed. I got snoo
Wait,
snooed
so
hard.
we're watching this muted but with subtitles. He really is saying bees.
Bees?
Like, he keeps saying the word bees, and I thought I was mishearing him, but the subtitles are telling us that he's calling people bees.
Yeah, because he's the queen bee.
Ah, that's...
It's
what
like it's a hive mind thing, female bees are the queen, the better, but I don't know why he's a man. I don't know.
Because it's
so
funny.
he dies and they all die.
It's funny, Ryan. He's
Yeah.
a man, and this guy looks like he's from Zoolander, and...
This guy, I like the joke with him that he's like some kind of like a male stripper that's fighting, like the way he he does the
Vegas showman, kind of.
Vegas showman, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day climactic dance. And
The Australian
in that film I just mentioned, Alexander, he has male strippers rock up at his 12-year-old party. Yeah, Steve Carell really organised that well.
But it's okay. He said, no, this is PG, and then they just did...
No, the
dancing.
mum said no, it's PG.
Oh, the mum said it.
But in this movie, this isn't PG. We see lots of gruesome violence. Were you taken aback, Jules, by some of the violence? Are you squeamish?
No, not really.
No, not really. I've got many nether regions. I don't squeam. Scream. So there's not that bit where they scalped a dude and the dude was fine? If you get scalped, you're not fine, right?
I know that.
No, you are fine, because a few shots later, he was not scalped.
Yeah. No, they threw his hair back at him, remember?
Oh, and he connected it.
Come on.
He grabbed it and put it back on.
Nothing a little duct tape won't fix.
Fix?
Fix.
Nothing a bit of duct tape won't fix. Especially in the medieval ages. Medieval.
Guys,
Metal
new
No,
rule,
meddle. Like, oh, she's meddling in this again with her evil.
new rule for the show. We never say fix, we only say fix.
Oh, is this why it's bees? Because he's got
Yeah.
a jar of mustard?
See, that confused me too, because
sense.
I'm like, is he saying bees? Because that looks like honey.
It
Does
looks like mustard. Thank you.
Well, I mean, like, in like a Winnie the Pooh sense. Like, he's got a
Even
huge
in
pot
Winnie
of
the
honey.
Pooh, it's less mustardy.
It's definitely not as viscous as what honey would be.
Viscous. I liked this. This was one of the fantasy elements that I really enjoyed. I like the idea of it where he sticks his hand or whatever into this jar of goo and it brings forth like a creature in the shape of whatever he's put in, like his hand or his face or whatever. I'm a bit confused at why it spits acid. You know what I mean? Like, how does he do that? Like, if I stick my hand in there, what physical gesture do I have to do to spit acid? Also, why aren't I spitting acid all the time?
Also, this was a missed opportunity for a dick joke.
Yeah, if he stuck his
Yeah.
dick in there and then it came up as a vagina monster, it would have been like, get it? It's a twist.
Because he's in charge of the women.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Oh no, Jules, if I got poison in my upper thigh but not dick, clearly that wasn't his dick, would you suck the poison out?
He'll die if you don't.
Nah, I'm walking away.
No, I'm walking away.
Oh, did the dying thing like sell you? Like, oh, well, absolutely not. I was considering it until
Okay, well, how about if you were our slave in this Bartek and mine
Well,
slave?
if I was a
and
slave,
then,
I would have no choice, wouldn't I?
well, yeah, that's exactly right. So you're gonna suck it. Suck it
Well,
hard,
Ryan, that's
Jules.
not really. It's not really a choice then, Ryan.
Fine,
so-
I'll make it a choice. You can die or you can suck it. There you go.
Well, I don't really want to die, do I?
There you go. The answer's clear.
giving
It's
her
like
back-
in those James Bond movies where it's like, you could either work with me or die. It's like, well, shit, I want one of the options to be at least once death. I will die, thank you. And it's like, that's what James Bond does in all the movies. He's like, I'd rather die. And they're like, fine, I'm going to hit you in the balls with a piece of rope.
Have fun.
Have fun. Or I'm going to shoot a laser at your dick. Hey, why is it in James Bond movies they always want to hurt his dick? Like, I get it, he has sex a lot, but, like, they don't know that, the villains, most of the time.
How do you know that, Ryan?
Oh, that's right. Sometimes they use femme fatales to ensnare him. You're right. I'm a fucking idiot. So, did you think this was a man?
No.
Based on those eyes and eyebrows. No.
Bartek, I'm not going to take your anatomy workshop on this episode because Bartek in the past has made statements on anatomy that have far exceeded expectations, such as Jack Black in the film Gulliver's Travel, where he alluded to this, had the haircut of midgets. Like, I'm like, midgets have a specific haircut.
I walk into this episode wanting to make a callback to that, but then you beat me to it. But no, look, she's got like eye makeup, so
Does she?
she does.
She
Does
has
she?
very bountiful eyelashes.
Those are the blood of her enemies.
Like, hold on, am I like the weird one on this one?
You are the weird one, yeah.
As soon as I saw the hood and the eyes,
Oh,
that's
I
a woman.
knew. I knew even before that because I'm like, well, that's the only one not showing their face, and I know
Ryan.
that Natalie Portman rocks
Well,
up in the
gee
movie.
whiz, that looks like Natalie
Ryan,
Portman.
you apparently had me on the Your Highness thing, but you don't have me on the eyes thing.
Okay, here's something. Honestly, would it be a surprise to you if they lifted up the veil and it was Michael Cera?
Yes.
No, because he has very feminine
Well-
features.
But
Well, no, because this movie already has a Michael Cera equivalent in Courtney.
No, Courtney's more of your Jesse Eisenberg than your Michael Cera.
I think the opposite.
Because no, because Jesse Eisenberg plays Michael Cera in Types, but with a lot more arrogance. And Courtney in this movie shows a bit of arrogance. He swears. He talks to them not like they're they're equals more so. Well, Michael Cera would be a lot less.
I feel like
quivering in his boots.
I feel
Yeah,
like
Michael
something
Cera would show a
wrong.
lot less confidence. See this shot? That shows confidence.
I
Michael
feel
Cera
like-
wouldn't. Well, Michael Cera wouldn't be doing that.
I feel like what is surpassing the arrogance is the fact that he's the butt of jokes, though.
Yeah, but that character is always going to be the butt of jokes, even if Jesse Eisenberg played it.
I still think that the butt of joke thing is more of a Michael Cera thing, though.
See that, Michael? You're a butt of jokes.
We still like you, though.
Do we?
I keep putting on that voice. in this
I don't know.
episode.
I'm liking Michael Cera at the moment. He's in the revamp of Twin Peaks, and he's doing a Marlon Brando impersonation, and he
Is he?
can't. Yeah. His character's name's Wally Brando, and he's born on the same day as Marlon Brando, and he's like got the full like motorcycle outfit going on, and he's speaking with a lisp because he's trying to do a Michael Cera's trying to do a Brando impersonation, and I was watching it and my girlfriend turned to me and goes, what's with his voice? And I just as I stated out loud, I was realizing when I was stating like, he's doing a Brando impersonation. But you know who's the real Brando of this movie?
We are.
The
Because
body double of Natalie Portman here. Yeah, that's not her body. Natalie doesn't like doing sexualized scenes or nudity. She
What?
tries to avoid it as much as possible.
But Ryan,
The-
didn't she really want to be in this film?
She definitely wanted to be in this.
Oh, you're not going to bring up the trivia?
I'll bring it up after my trivia, which is this scene here.
Oh, Ryan's joke, yep.
It's not a joke. This scene here was the marketing for this movie because
Was it?
the movie doesn't have jokes in it as much. It has contextual humor, Jules. In terms of, you can't tell me a joke that happened in this movie, but you could probably tell me in the movie what's funny is the fact that they use modern slang and terms, but it's funny because they're speaking with posh accents in medieval ages, but there's no jokes, say. There's not like a setup and a payoff and a punchline. So in a trailer term, that's very hard to create for a comedy.
Without giving away pretty much everything.
Yeah, but also selling, hey, it's a comedy. Because, you know, trailers are short, you've got to get to the point, show the funny bits. But this film doesn't have overtly funny bits, it's more contextual humor. Like, if you're watching it, you get the humor. There is no jokes, necessarily. So they had to pitch this movie in the trailer by just showing her semi-naked body. And, she does not like it, Natalie Portman. She's not one for nudity. She's done like a short film in which it was like her naked, but like you don't see anything. It's like her being like, you know, there's that episode Simpsons in which Marge and Homer have sex in a windmill at the putt-putt golf, and they have to try and run away back home because and they've been covered up by all these different objects. It's like one of those kind of movies. And she talks to this day about how she regrets doing that movie because she doesn't like being naked on screen or on stage. So it's like in this movie, they're like, we'll get a body double. I just thought that's an interesting fact. But Bartek.
In this sequence here...
If I said shame, would anyone understand that?
Shame?
Yeah.
Do I feel shame?
It's a concept.
Oh, no.
You mean the TV show?
If she got a body double and I said shame.
Shame.
No, it's
like,
a Game of Thrones reference.
I get you.
I've already established that I don't watch
shame.
it. So.
Shame.
Shame.
So James Franco in this sequence here, I get that you wear like an undershirt with your armor.
yeah.
I'm
already liking where this is going.
I feel like his shirt is a bit too modern.
What do you mean?
I just feel like you would see people today wearing the shirt.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing about hipsters. They bring the retro back.
But in the next shot,
it's like in that episode of Seinfeld in which he wears like the flousy shirt, like
pirate shirt.
the pirate
the
shirt,
puffy shirt.
the puffy shirt. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
a t-shirt?
It's a t-shirt.
Look, I'll be blunt. In this scene, it gave me flashbacks to Scooby-Doo 2.
Why is he? Yeah.
He looks like
I get
Shaggy in this.
Well,
Shaggy,
I think this scene.
If it was green, it would be perfect.
And it is greenish.
And also,
I mean, bright green.
and also, this is a scene set at night where the character that looks like Shaggy is getting emotional with a character here who's half like pet, half friend, which is also a scene that was in Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, with Jules was on. Which when I watched this scene, I was like, is this one of the reasons why we're having Jules on for this episode?
Yeah, of course.
To connect the James Franco to the Oz the Great and Powerful.
You know why?
And this scene to Scooby-Doo 2.
You know why they have him in a t-shirt, right? Because James Franco worked out his arms in this movie, so he wants his arms to be shown as much as possible.
He said, I will not do this film unless you show my arms.
And he does. You see his arms when he first comes in. I was like, oh, he got ripped for this. And then my girlfriend leaned over and went, not on leg day, though. And you do. You look, his legs are like, but his arms are like, brrr.
And as we read in the IMDb trivia, Ryan, how many months of something did he do?
Lots of months of something.
The answer is 9 and sword lessons, or sword.
9 and baby.
Was it fencing? Or
no, just sword.
Just sword play.
So he learned how to do swords. It really shows in this movie, you know? When you see him holding a sword, you're like, he's holding it.
He was teaching
with
his brother.
conviction.
He was teaching
his brother how to
Dave?
swing.
He was teaching
his
Dave
brother in the
Franco?
film.
Oh, I thought you meant in real life. It was like, hey, it's me, James.
No, he was teaching his Danny McBride.
And Dave's
brother.
like, hey, it's me, Dave.
Let me teach you how to hold your sword.
They were training for the.
You're gonna grip it at the base, Dave.
They were
Firm.
Hopefully, when we watch the masterpiece, they'll have some sword play there that they learn together.
Yeah. So, Danny McBride, we haven't really talked about him very much. He's the central actor in this film. Do we know him from much? And if we do, what do we think of him?
Funnily enough, the thing I know him best from is This Is the End.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. I've not seen This Is the End.
Oh, really?
No, like I said, like this stable of comedians, the ones that and This Is the End. There's only a few of them that I genuinely do enjoy. Like I enjoy James Franco on a more dramatic level, or when he's in something that's supposed to be good and he's goofing off, like Spider-Man. Like when he's in Spider-Man and he turns around and gives that smile and then a truck goes past him and he's gone. That's hilarious. But like Michael Cera out of that group is probably the one I like the most because he's done more things I like. Well, he's done 3 to 4 seasons of Arrested Development.
He's really in that film, isn't he, Jules?
I know he's briefly in this in the end. I know that, but like I remember the thing that everyone talks about is like he's one of the best parts of that because it's the opposite of Michael Cera.
Yes.
Yeah,
and the one thing
much.
I do know is he demanded in that movie that he wears that jacket that he wears because he just bought it and it looked cool. And he demanded, I'll be in it, but only if I can wear this big jacket that I just bought. Other than that, like that stable of actors, I don't really care for.
I'm pretty sure they
so
make
I just,
fun of Your Highness in the film.
Yeah, obviously they would, but I'm not much for meta humor movies as much. Where it's like, get it where we're here, blah blah. I'm like, I'd rather see The World's End, which came out the same time.
That was a good
I
one.
saw both of them. Yeah.
But the movie had Zooey Deschanel giving her blank-eyed stare.
It had Hermione Granger for some reason.
Oh, giving a dead-eyed
Watson.
stare. Cool.
I don't know why Emma Watson was in that film.
Get it? She's in it. It's weird. Because they got to prove that she can do something other than Harry Potter and Perks of Being a Wallflower, and that's about it.
Beauty and the Beast.
No, but that was before Beauty and the Beast.
That's true.
And even then, let's be honest, she's not very good.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Oh. Have fun listening to her sing?
Yeah.
I guess you could call it singing in Beauty and the Beast.
And having an English accent in a French town.
They do that in every movie.
I mean, wasn't the original, like the animated one, notorious for having like one person doing a French accent?
Yeah,
Which is also kind of what happened.
which
in
is
the late...
Maurice, her dad.
Oh, I thought wasn't it the Candlestick Lumiere?
Oh yeah, Lumiere. I thought her dad had an English accent too. I mean, French.
I think I've seen it.
Whoa, whoa,
but-
whoa! Calm down, Maurice. It's like the best part of the whole entire movie, of the animated one. Her dad like rushes in. He's like, and Gaston's like, whoa, slow down, Maurice. And he says it like that, and it's like, this is weird because the movie is, even though the accents aren't right, the way they're speaking is right, but that he's like, whoa, 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 slow down, Maurice. It felt like very 90s.
Yeah.
See, I'm not sure if I've seen the film because if I did see it, it would have been when I was really young and I wasn't really good at English yet. So it's this kind of weird thing of, have I actually seen it? Have I not? I don't know.
Well, have you seen? So, but yeah, Danny McBride. So was he good in This Is the End? That's the only thing you guys have reference for him.
He played up the fact that he was a big asshole in it.
Is he an asshole?
And that made him like, that was his character. He stood out for that reason.
Well, I thought Michael Cera was the asshole in that movie.
Ryan, Michael Cera's only in it for like 15 minutes.
That's a lot of minutes.
It's the first 15 minutes though. Nothing.
And he doesn't really speak that much in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Doesn't he slap Rihanna on the ass?
Probably. It's
I
been a
think
while.
so.
There's a great trivia
It's
about
been
that.
4 years.
I know a lot of trivia about a movie I haven't seen. Isn't that great?
And for a group of actors who you said you're not too big on.
Fond of. But there's, you
Yeah.
know, when you learn fun trivia, like Michael Cera didn't slap her hard enough on the ass. No, he slapped her hard enough, but she didn't slap him back hard enough. And he's like, no, really, give it to me. And the take they used, she really gave it to him. And it's like, she hits him so hard that his head disappears from the frame because she hit him so hard that his
That's
body
a good shot then.
just went onto the ground and he apparently passed out.
I didn't know that.
Michael
Okay.
Cera is such a pussy.
And yet, but he was asking for it, so...
But that's probably like the coolest moment of his life. It's like, I got slapped by Rihanna.
I got bitch slapped by Rihanna because I got the slap on the ass.
He got knocked out.
What a great moment. His dick goes through her.
And out the bum.
That's not how you get her pregnant, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not an expert on inducing pregnancy in dragon formations, but I'm pretty sure that's not how you do it. Danny McBride, for me, I don't know him. Like, I do know him as a figure, but I've never watched him in anything outside of this. Never seen anything of his outside of this film. I don't know what the appeal is. Like, I get it. Like, I like this film, don't get me wrong. I just felt like Danny McBride in this movie, he does, you know, I give it to him. He keeps the accent up. He keeps a consistent character, which to be honest, was one of the weaknesses, because once he gets a sword, he's a completely different character. Like, I actually go, why did the sword change you that much?
He definitely becomes slightly more mature when he gets the sword, but I still feel like he has that adult man-child.
No, I felt like once he got the sword, he just becomes, like, really proper.
Yeah.
I still see elements of the man-child in him.
Oh, yeah, obviously, because it's Danny McBride, you can't remove that.
And even though that might be considered like a weakness of the film, like, oh, he's an unlikable character, I think that he played the character the way it should have been played. I
don't think that's weakness. I think his character is really, really well designed. What about you, Jules? Did you find it a well-designed character, or did you find yourself not liking the dude?
Yeah, well, I agree with what you guys said. I think he's well designed, but as soon as he grabs the sword, it's like, hello, new person.
Hey, where's Thaddeus? You will die and become a new person, was what the labyrinth was really going to say. So, yeah, Danny McBride, I felt like he's good in this, but maybe because I don't know him and I don't know his back catalogue, so I can't be like, he's perfect for this, but I felt like you could get...
And even on that note, Jules and I are familiar with, like, a exaggerated version
of himself.
Literally being, like, the biggest I'll probably be in that film.
Yep, so we don't really have an idea of Danny McBride in anything other than this and exaggerating himself.
Because in this movie, I felt like, could Seth Rogen have been this character?
Danny McBride's character?
Yeah, or could basically anyone from that stable of actors. I think that's a problem with that stable of actors. I think that's why I like Michael Cera the most, because he's the one that only Michael Cera can play the Michael Cera roles. While James Franco, right now, you could replace him with one of the other ones. And it would still be the same movie.
I think compared to Seth Rogen, though, and again, I'm limited by the fact that I've only seen 2 Danny McBride roles. I feel like Danny McBride has bit more of that arrogance, type of arrogance.
Yeah, but I feel like if you were to put James Franco into Juno, it would be a completely different film. Where you could put Jonah Hill in this part and it would still probably work.
Yeah, you could put Jonah Hill in...
Oh, they'd make it work for sure, yeah. I still think Danny McBride would be the best.
I think that's the weakness of this stable of actors, of comedy actors, in comparison to, say...
They're too similar.
Yeah, you could interchange them because they all do the same things, except for Michael Cera, who stands out because he's awkward and feminine. He is the David Spade of this group, where David Spade is for the Adam Sandler group. Like,
or the me of our pair.
Or the Jules. No, Jules is more feminine. But no, like, at least with Adam Sandler's crew, that you can swap and change them, but they really do rely on, you need Chris Rock to do Chris Rock, you need Adam Sandler to do Adam Sandler. Kevin James, you know, he's there, you can have him as, you know, like, as much as you may or may not like those guys, they all are different from one another. Like, you need Kevin James to do Kevin James. You can't get Chris Rock to do that. But in this stable of actors, they're all these guys who are like, yeah, I've got a degree, but I'm a stoner.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. Well, Michael Cera, I think that's what I like about Michael Cera. He's in this stable of comedy actors that are all stoner-based, and he's the only one that isn't. Like, I never think of Michael Cera as stoner, ever, in any of them.
Awkward more.
He's awkward.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Michael Cera should have played Natalie Portman in this movie, but it would have been great.
That would have been for a comedy, you know, that would be funny.
But this is a fantasy movie too, and are we fans of fantasy?
It's got fan in the word, Ryan.
Right. I made a mistake even asking that question.
It also has Fanta in it.
I love Fanta! And then there's C. I've been to C once.
I've seen it.
I see all the time.
No, seriously, what do we think of fantasy in general and as a film genre?
It's definitely one of those ones that can be shaped in many different ways, because at its core, fantasy is kind of focusing on things that you can't really see in your everyday life. So it could be something from wizards to mythical creatures, and you can put them in settings that are magical, like, I won't say Hogwarts because that exists in a world filled with, you know, things like that, but this is like an older area where there's wizards all over the place and it's a common thing in society. Or you can put a random wizard in the real world and have that be the conflict. So it's a very moldable, putty-like genre that you can play around with, and I think it definitely has a lot of potentials. And certainly, I love movies. I've seen plenty of movies. I love video games, played many video games, and almost all of them use some elements of fantasy in them. So I think it would be inaccurate of me to say that I'm not a fan specifically of fantasy because it's so prevalent.
And you're a fan of anime, and anime borrows a lot from fantasy elements as well as a genre, of things. What about you, Jules? Are you a fantasy fan?
Actually, now that Bartek has explained it that way, I'd have to say so, just because there's so many different ways that it can get played out. So there are things that I enjoy within it and things that I don't, but I think it's one of those things that...
To specify it, do we think that fantasy at its concept is amazing? Or is it just that it's in so many things that we're used to it and we're fine with it?
No, yeah, I think it's in so many things. I mean, Star Wars is sci-fi fantasy because it deals with...
sci-fi and fantasy kind of...
Well, yeah, they overlap a lot because they're the things that aren't achieved in humanity yet, where sci-fi deals with the possibilities of things like spaceships and lasers and stuff, while magic is always fantasy is always magic and stuff that's never gonna happen, a man creates a ring to rule them all, that kind of... Fantasy for me, I like it, but it's not a genre that I'm particularly fond of myself. A lot of the time it's because of prophecy and magic. I like sci-fi more because I like things that I can relate to in everyday life a bit more. When I see a prophecy rock up in a film, it makes me go, oh no.
You need to do well with a prophecy.
Yeah, but I feel the downfall of that is it's either overplayed that that there's some hidden twist to it, and you're like, okay, when's it gonna happen?
And, with fantasy, I feel like you said it was malleable and all that, pretty for me, when I think of it, at least in film terms, I think of two divisions of fantasy.
I think,
of straight fantasy.
If you're specifically marking a film as being of the genre of fantasy, then it implies
because, once you have mixed genres like sci-fi fantasy, you get, Star Wars and all these other things. But when I go fantasy, there's two sides of fantasy I can think of. There's the side that it's, for kids... Willow and films like that.
Early Harry Potter, maybe?
Yeah. Like the Never-Ending Story.
Never-Ending Story, and all that. And then you have Lord of the Rings. Those are the two sides, where you have one that's, more fun, upbeat for kids, whimsy, and, there's dwarfs playing dwarfs, and all that kind of stuff, and kooky, which this movie's leaning towards... more so than your Lord of the Rings. This movie's leaning towards that, but using adult humor, obviously, where you have witches and mages and huzzah, and it's whimsy and fun, and it's not really
childish wizards,
and all that kind of stuff. And
pedophiles.
then you have Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings stands pretty much in its, that's the king of fantasy. I don't think anything's kicking that down, and no one can really turn to you and say, oh, this is better fantasy, at least in terms of iconic fantasy. You could be there's...
It's not like the Star Trek / Star Wars debate.
It's no Your Highness, but
yeah, exactly. At least with Star Trek / Star Wars, it's like Star Wars, sci-fi fantasy. Star Trek, just sci-fi. Even though they meet God at one point.
With what you said with prophecies, it always kind of implies an inevitability or almost like a spoiler in a way.
Yeah, I think...
And
because we're used to that trope.
Yeah, and I think I know there's a film discussion, but I think one of the best uses of fantasy that prophecy that I've seen is in a video game called Earthbound. Yeah. Which anyone who's played Super Smash Brothers, Ness is the main character of Earthbound. In it, there is a prophecy that the kids there are going to prophesies to save the world, to beat the bad guy, and there is no point in the story where you think, oh no, they're not going to do it. It's all about the journey. Yeah. So it's about films with prophecies. If the journey is good, then that is kind of...
and that's kind of what made the Star Wars prequels suck even more than they could, because at the end of the day, with the prequel, they're kind of, if you've already know the original property, they're kind of prophecy-based stories because we know where they're going to be, right, at the end of it. We know how things are going to forge. It's just like seeing it unfold.
It's a weird kind of in media res, I
guess. Yeah. Star Wars prequels failed because we didn't need a prophecy. That's where the fantasy aspect came way too strong. That's the thing that really killed all three of those movies is there's this giant prophecy, but it's never actually explained in those movies what the actual prophecy is for the audience to clearly understand. Like, if I asked you, what's the prophecy in Star Wars,
to bring
the
balance
prequels,
to the Force,
yeah, but what does that mean?
Explain it, yeah.
And then what does it mean to you, blah, blah, and why do they think Anakin, on and on it goes. But it's like, in a film like this, that's what I like about this. This brings up prophecy, and even in a comedy film, it does it in a balanced tone of the prophecy, It doesn't beat you over the head with it. And it doesn't feel like, oh yeah, there's a prophecy to this. Like, he's a chosen one and all that kind of stuff. For a comedy film, that's a singular adventure. Like, this isn't a part of a series or anything like that. Like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and Star Wars. This is one story that has a prophecy that you get told about, it gets delivered on, and it's concluded on. It delivers very well at that. I think this particular film, Your Highness.
Are we talking about Lazar's prophecy?
It's not just Lazar's prophecy encapsulates all of them. Like it's one of those prophecies that's like, this is gonna happen, but you were born to, there's gonna be like but like the heroes, there's gonna be another hero in 100 years that's gonna stop this from happening, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, and a true hero is gonna pick up the sword and all of that, and it's great for Danny McBride's character because he's not a hero, and even in this moment, I actually really like this moment where he actually was like, I'm not. Please take it back or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's really true to his character
type. It definitely follows the whole hero's journey thing about how you start off as an everyman and then you become something greater. Yeah,
exactly. And I think this movie, you can fault it for not having jokes. It has a lot of contextual humor, which isn't bad. Mel Brooks makes a lot of his movies thrive on contextual humor, but he also has jokes in his movies. Like Blazing Saddles is funny because of some of the modern slang they use and the contextual stuff, but it's also like I could tell you jokes from that movie as well. This is also a good fantasy story. I'm not much for fantasy, but this is a good one. This is one of those things. I think we can all agree on this. When we see certain comedy things that do a parody or a satire on a specific genre, they can be heavy-handed a lot. Where it's like, say something like the scary movies. They're like making fun of horror movie. They make fun of whatever horror movie just came out. This one isn't making fun of Lord of the Rings, or it isn't making fun of Willow specifically. It's just saying we're taking the genre of it and putting a comedic spin on it. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, and I know that when I was reading up on like minor references they did have a bunch of like the costumes are kind of references to Willow. At one point, Julie says Hufflepuff. That's like a Harry Potter reference, and I think they even said that Zooey Deschanel trying to comb herself with a fork was a reference to the Little Mermaid and stuff like that. Yeah. So it covers like a lot of the little references, as well as for the general feel of fantasy, like obscure fantasy films from like the 80s, which I guess we might not be familiar with, but
Tron, yeah.
But like Ryan, you like to watch like YouTube video series where people like take obscure films. Surely you've seen one where they might have watched like a fantasy film from the 20th century.
Yeah.
You could see comparisons here.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's just, and even if you don't know those fantasy films yourself, they're ingrained onto the culture and those. So yeah, fantasy. Take it or leave it. I'm a leave it guy, but this film, that's how it won me over as well. It has this great scene in which a Minotaur's about to rape a guy.
See, I didn't anticipate the rape thing, but I was anticipating that something was going to happen between the two of them because I almost call him Julie. Courtney's wearing red.
Of course, that means he's a whore.
Well, no, because
dirty harlot.
Well, I guess that's a double entendre then, because there's the whole like Greek mythology of the Minotaur in the labyrinth, and
oh, good.
Isn't there the thing where you like distract him with red?
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm not up to my date on mythology. Is there also a thing where you're distracted with
I might be wrong
pipes?
about the red
I was
thing,
just thinking about
Star Trek, in which you wear a red shirt, you die.
no. I was thinking about
He's a wrecked dick, yeah.
no, when
Bullfighters.
Bullfighters, and they always have a red...
matadors.
Yeah, matadors.
They have a capote.
Yeah.
Is that Polish for
And
cape?
it's generally red.
No, it's the thing that the matadors use.
Oh.
The red thing's a myth, though. The bulls are actually distracted by the swaying of the cloth.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's good. You know who I really feel sorry for in this movie? The poor guy that died in the labyrinth. The knight whose dead body we saw. What was his story? What was he trying to do? Why was he not a hero?
Maybe he was not worthy and his death was literal rather than becoming a new character.
Maybe he just wanted to have some fun. Maybe he wanted to go to the maze and be like, surprise, I got through it.
So apparently the fact that Danny McBride wears a dick around his neck...
Yeah, dick neck, yeah.
A dick necklace... it was meant to be the payoff to a joke that was earlier in the film but was a deleted scene.
Oh, it was a joke. Was it, you're going to wear a dick around your neck someday? No, I won't.
No, I think it was...
Was this a reason why
I think it was...
the other guy's dickless?
No, apparently Natalie Portman made a joke in one of the takes where she said something like, why don't I cut off your dick and wear it around my neck or something? And apparently that was just meant to be a callback to that. But it's not in the film.
Oh no, the bird's still there.
Ah, you acknowledged the bird finally.
What do you mean? I've acknowledged it.
I acknowledged it and then you talked about
I'm
Stephen.
you. We're the same person.
So if
look, Conan the Barbarian rocked up for enough time in the movie.
That's a reference. There was an outtake. There was a blooper of him in that shot there where they were like feeding him all the lines he had to say and he was repeating them. But I don't think he ended up saying anything.
No, he doesn't really.
In that shot.
He doesn't speak much in the movie.
Well, when he does speak, he'll die.
Was it me, or when this sequence here happened, she turns around to look, and then it cuts to a portrait of their family. I'm like, why is that in her house? Like, in her tower? Also, was I the only one to think that Zooey Deschanel was going to be
Natalie Portman.
Yeah,
Natalie Portman's sister?
No.
Because Natalie Portman's like, my entire family got murdered by Lazar and all that.
It's like, surprise, I'm still alive.
Because he murdered a whole entire town and took one girl. And I'm like, oh, is that going to be her sister? No.
Well, maybe they knew each other at least.
No.
It's like,
Maybe
hey, remember
if
me?
Natalie Portman had bangs, I'd believe it.
Maybe, hey, do you remember me when I was a baby? I'm the same age. Like, maybe they're roughly the same age.
Yeah.
So it's like, if she got her whole entire family, like, what I'm saying is Zooey Deschanel got kidnapped as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
If my theory's already out the window, then if Natalie Portman she's roughly the same age, she would be too young to remember if they was the same incident.
Okay.
So that's the whole of my theory of them being sisters.
Right. Do you remember me from when we were babies?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you remember me as a baby? I was a baby too.
It's a logical fallacy. I get it.
Fallacies. So how do we
likes fallacies apparently?
What do we think of Lazar? Is he a villain that would persuade you to betray James Franco? Especially if you had a homoerotic crush on him or had no dick?
Well, Jules?
Your homoerotic crush on James Franco?
I would never harm James Franco. I couldn't.
She is the Franco expert, remember?
She's a Frank-spur. Franco-spur. So, what about you, Bartek? Do you think Lazar is powerful enough or charming enough to persuade you to join his side?
I suppose he's got the whole power aspect, you know.
And he's got 3 mums.
Scare me into it. As a character, he's a fairly comical villain.
Yeah, he was very funny, you know. Like,
In fact, you know what? There's a mirror between him and Danny McBride in the fact that they're both childish.
Oh,
I thought man-child.
Okay, yeah. I
didn't really think of that until now.
The fun fact is, the actor who plays the bad guy, his cousin is Louis Theroux, who's the famous documentary maker, the guy who always just pumps out documentary after documentary after documentary. The kind of tallish guy with glasses and well-swept brownish hair. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's his cousin. Huh. The bad guy. So the bad guy's cousin is making a documentary about this event somewhere. That would have actually been great if he rocked up and he's doing a documentary about what's happening here. Great way to die, by the way. But also, what I liked about this villain is it brings up what I was talking about before. I brought up Twin Peaks and Michael Cera.
Yeah.
This guy is a frequent actor in David Lynch movies. Mm-hmm. And it's actually quite a turn for him to do a silly comedy like this. He's more of a absurd kind of he would be an actor that would have appeared in this director's back catalogue before he did comedies that were for stoners. That kind of actor. So it's actually quite nice to see a thespian, if you will, just have fun. You know, like he wants to just have sex with his mum's watching.
You know what's not fun?
Not just fun, but
not letting your mum's finger.
I was gonna say something else, right?
Oh, the fact that James Franco promised fingering of the bridesmaids and that never happened.
No, Ryan, I'm talking about the star.
What about the star?
The one star that Roger Ebert gave this film.
Oh, fuck him! Wasn't he dead by then?
No, he still had like 2 more years.
He still had enough hate in him.
He did not like this film. He thinks that it is a crying shame that the director is no longer making indie films, just making stoner comedies. He kept asking in his review, "What happened? What are you doing? Are you gonna come back?"
Money. Money happened.
He pointed out 3 actors who were in this film who were in a really good film earlier. I think it was James Franco, McBride, and I think Natalie Portman.
What movie? Were they all in the same movie, or you're saying he's pointed out different movies?
He pointed out 3 actors in this film who were in the same movie. And it was
really
yes,
good. I remember Danny McBride as the dance instructor in Black Swan.
I'm pretty sure it was Danny You just said you haven't seen him in anything, right?
Well, I guess I haven't seen Black Swan.
I'm pretty sure it was McBride, Franco, and one of the female actresses. I think
Zooey Deschanel, probably.
Probably.
Because she's a comedy actress.
I'm pretty sure, he's seen some film with the 3 of them that he really liked, so that was another, shame on you were in good stuff. It was a very shame on you were in good stuff review.
Shame on you, James Franco, you were in 127 hours.
Yeah, you were an Oscar nominee.
Oscar nominee.
And Natalie Portman's a winner.
And Danny McBride hasn't got nothing.
Because he's a loser.
Hey! He's an alien covenant and he's supposed to be very good playing a serious role called Dallas, Texas or something.
Do you know who has a bird at the moment?
Who?
This guy.
Oh my god, it's this guy.
Is that a joke?
Yeah, probably. Bartek,
could you explain it?
Jules, you're good at explanations. Explain it to him.
I honestly don't know what I was going with that.
Oh, that explains everything.
My favourite joke is no explanation.
I like impromptu jokes, so I can accept it. Also, I like birds.
Bartek is a big fan of birds.
You know what? I actually was distracted by a lot of bird videos while I was doing my assignments the past week.
I was really distracted by the fact
that... A lot of toucans.
I was really distracted by the fact that James Franco actually did brutally murder his own men in this. I actually thought, in a normal movie, the men, he would either knock them out, or they would learn their lesson, or swap sides again. But no, he actually murders them, like his own dudes. I actually found that kind of comforting because, I'm so sick of dudes being alive. I just want them dead.
I'm sick of people being alive.
Ryan,
no, specifically dudes.
Ryan, are you a feminazi?
No, I'm a patronazi. I want the patriarchy for myself.
So Ashton Kutcher, dead.
Oh, yeah. No. He was in Guess Who.
Yeah,
so,
he was in Guess Who.
And, I wouldn't want him dead.
Dude, where's my car?
So I'll kill Sean William Scott then, or whatever his name is.
I think I was going to say Sean Scott, and you said Sean William Scott.
So he's one of those actors that you have to say his full name, like Samuel L. Jackson. Fun fact.
Will Macy.
On my 18th birthday, we watched Pulp Fiction, and I get bringing up, one of my friends hadn't seen it. I'm like, Samuel L. Jackson's great in this movie. And she just went, And then the credits popped up, said Samuel L. Jackson. She goes, that's actually his name. I thought you were saying his name weird for some reason, like Samuel L. instead of Samuel.
Okay, fair enough.
And then she's like, but why do they call him Samuel L. Jackson? And then like, that's just what he wants to be called. She's like, what does the L stand for? And the L stands for Leroy. Fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know who could have been great in this movie as Mace Windu? Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So we're up to the final climax. I really enjoyed the battle sequences, and it's really funny when a movie like this has better action sequences than some action movies. I mean, the last movie I saw in the cinema currently, as we're recording this, was John Wick 2, and that had great action.
I saw 20th Century Women, and that didn't have much action.
Fuck! What were they doing? It was the 20th century. Weren't they kicking Nazis and taking names?
Well, it was the 70s.
There were still Nazis in the 70s, Bartek.
They didn't finish their milk.
Ryan, when people think 1979, they don't think Nazis.
You're right. They think communism.
Blues Brothers hadn't happened yet.
See, this sequence here, Zooey Deschanel, her breasts are rather small. I'm very
that's because
upset.
she's been hypnotized, Ryan.
Oh yeah, so her breasts shrank.
Yeah.
Or it's because she's
Oh
lying
no!
down.
Say goodbye to Toby. No, because we've seen her in other scenes laying down where they have like a low cut, and she. Remember that scene earlier where I was like, "Oh my god, her breast," and you were like, "What's wrong?" or whatever. Like you were like, "What? Yeah."
Since when?
Since when? She was laying down then, and her breasts were
she
like
was sitting
fucking.
up.
No, she was laying down then. She sat up, and it was like, "Oh my god, see, she was just laying down, and you could see her breasts were clear." What's going on? Oh,
She's not hypnotized.
Oh, see the shield thing she never used
there
before.
must be a course to learn on
How to get breasts? How do I get breasts?
How to fake having big boobs.
You know, I really like. As I talk to Jules, I face her to talk to her, and I look at her nails. That Jules has these really long, sharp,
I've been looking at them.
well crafted nails, and they remind me of Lazar's nails that he grows when he is magic in this movie. So, Jules, are you the Lazar of the group? Are you just waiting for your fucking to happen?
Sure, I still need to learn.
It's the prophecy.
I still need to learn how to fuck a woman.
You fuck a woman.
It needs to be a virgin too.
It needs to be a virgin like you, yes, of women, of course. Look, it's you.
Have you picked one?
So the penis goes straight through the body, right?
No,
Yeah,
well,
that's how you
through
get someone pregnant.
Through the vuvu and out the bum bum.
Like straight through though. Look at him here.
What if I go the opposite way?
Well, then you're just gonna get shit on your dick.
God's not going to be happy.
Well, does this movie believe in God? That's something. That's
a big fantasy thing, yeah. Is
this
a
a fan? Well, yeah. Here's the thing: is this a fantasy that abides by the kind of rules and regulations that something like Lord of the Rings does, where it's like Judeo-Christian fantasy values, or is it Norse mythology values of fantasy?
The medieval setting would suggest...
Sorry, that was my favourite line. No, don't suck that. That's dead. Doesn't stop Zooey Deschanel. Her sister's on bones, for Christ's sake.
The medieval British thing would imply it, but the fact that no one really looks like a crusader type of knight is against it. So I think this...
and this has Greek mythology too, with the Minotaur being there, and
yeah, that's a good point. But
the labyrinth.
I guess not all Greek mythology is centered around gods. I guess. There's the Icarus and all that. That was like the story of a human making like an invention.
Yeah, I guess, and Vane and all that, and
I think
Oedipus. I guess.
I guess we can safely say that this
Oedipus.
is
What, Oedipus? I guess gods weren't so much involved. I mean, it was foretold, but other than that...
You have to eat a puss. I guess this would be a film...
Again with the voice.
Again with the Oedipus. Oh, look, it's Jules's nails. Okay, you were going to say?
I guess we could safely say this is a film that doesn't really look towards gods as being a thing.
Yeah, because he is God. The magician.
I guess they would be the equivalent because they've got the magic.
Yeah, and you can't kill him unless you have a magic sword.
Also, the guy in charge of the bees.
I guess that's... I really love how this guy at no point thinks that he has the unicorn horn blade. Like, he doesn't even recognize it. So he's like, fuck
it's just a sword.
Lazar's like, oh, yeah, he's probably forgotten the fact that swords can't kill me.
And
after
then,
that traumatizing
again, we're going to
incident.
see something that inspired Harry Potter. This scene inspired the death of Voldemort, you know? It's very similar.
Oh, yeah.
Not the book that was made in 2009?
Did you read the book?
Yeah.
Did you see the movie?
Yeah.
Jules, you read the book, yeah? No? Okay.
I've seen the film.
I've not even read the book, but I know this. When Voldemort dies in the book, yeah, he doesn't explode into birds. He just dies as a human, doesn't he? Doesn't his body just flop on the ground and he's just like a pathetic human?
It's been a while, but I think
that's what happened.
his death wasn't as like special effectsy in the book.
No, but I think it was like, you know, he gets zapped, but I thought it was like he just turns back into like a human or just drops dead on the ground. Like it's like
there was nothing amazing.
There was nothing amazing to this amazing individual.
The whole idea of the 7th movie is that they've gotten rid of his immortality.
No, exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, but he explodes in magical fashion. Well, I think it's in the book. He just dies, falls on the ground. It's like really pathetic and sad and like.
I don't remember it being a huge spectacle or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. That movie has to make it Jun. I mean, isn't there a big thing that last Harry Potter movie about the Elder Wand? Like he breaks it in the movie.
I think so.
Yeah, he does. Because I always remember going, "Can you at least fix Hogwarts first?"
No.
No, don't want to. Just break it and throw it away. Okay.
I really like this sequence here in which Natalie Portman's like, "Goodbye. I'm not interested in being your love interest." And I was like, that's really cool. This is really smart, you know? I'm so sick of just because she's a woman and he's a man, they have to be together. I kind of liked it where it was like, they're not getting together. That's kind of cool. But they'll meet again, perhaps. And then the movie says, hey, Ryan, you enjoyed that for a moment? Fuck you, buddy.
Well, she finished her mission, right? So she had
in
time.
less than a day.
I also like that she's like, no, I don't want it touching me.
That was
Get
actually
it away.
that wasn't actually acting. That was actually her being like, I'm not up for improvising.
You know what makes this extra funny is I noticed only just now when he took off the dick, the part
he
that was
squeezed it. Yeah.
No. When he was taking it off from.
Oh, he
Ray's
smacked
neck,
him in the face.
Yeah, the like bloody part rubbed into his face.
Fun fact: this is all 100% true. That moment, Bartek, is the only moment of this film I remembered the first time round that I smiled at. Like I didn't laugh. I smiled and went. Okay.
Because that was unintentional.
No, I thought, okay, that's a clever use of the prop. Like, you know, like, it's not like he's sucking it or anything. It's like, he just smacks him like, okay, that was actually restrained. I liked how,
and I feel like it's
he just plops it on his shoulder. And then in the next shot, it's gone. In the next shot, it's like, it's not even there anymore. Like, he's holding it again.
His hand.
Oh, yeah, you saw it in, like, just behind his shoulder.
I just really love that Zooey Deschanel throughout this sequence was playing with James Franco's knobs on his suit of armor. Like, she has no idea what they are because she's lived in a tower all of her life. But I'm pretty sure, like, if you lived in a tower all your life, Jules, and I was just wearing something with, like protruding...
Buttons.
They're not even buttons, just protrusions on my suit, you wouldn't be like, what are these? What are those? Like, she has breasts, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, she should be used to this. Like, I don't know what she's on about.
Oh my god, knobs!
Knobs! Like, protrusions. I like how he had a mini quest for Stephen that on his wedding day. Also, what happened to his arm? He held the dick for too long.
It was too heavy.
It was too heavy and he sprained his arm.
Ryan, maybe he had a heart attack.
Bad memories.
But he would have had it wrapped around his chest.
Yeah, it would have been the left arm. That's his right arm.
And it would be his chest, Bartek. We already went through this with hard ducks. Yeah.
Sorry, did you say heart attacks or arm ducks?
Arm ducks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and Jules' favourite scene? Masturbation.
Yay.
Jules, did you have a favourite character and favourite moment in this film yourself?
Stephen.
You like Stephen too? Yeah, I thought Stephen was cute.
Screw you, I'm Team Simon.
Fuck Simon in the ass.
Oh.
So,
but he's mechanical.
And
does he have one?
Did you have a favourite moment? You on reviewing this as well, because your perspective on this would have changed. No, I was right the first time round, right?
No, I do like the end where she's gone, no, I don't love you. We'll see each other later, but I'm not gonna, like, romantically pine over you while I'm gone.
And then did you really like it when she appears again?
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about when she appears again. I'm going to savor this moment of talking about Stephen. I really like the fact that Stephen is the deadest bearded dragon I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I've owned many of them, and even if you have them as pets, they will run. They will jump. They will
on a pillow for that long.
Yeah, he's just, if it was an iguana,
Maybe.
sure. Sure, I'm used to iguanas in movies as well, but we're also used to iguanas as just things that just sit there. But it's like, it's a bearded dragon. It would be walking around. It would be wanting to be leaving unless...
I was watching this whole movie and I'm like, is that a prop? Like, it's not moving. But then you see it does move.
The only thing I can think of is they have the pillow...
stoned.
No. The pillow, in terms of props, the pillow's heated.
Yeah.
So that's why it's sitting there. But I guess magic, right? Okay,
No,
she's back,
drugs.
guys. She's back. Did you feel anything suspicious in this scene at all?
She looks like she's, like...
Tanner?
just like she's had, like, her hair done and looks like she's been, like, prettied up a bit.
Yeah, did you feel like... Where did you have a sense of direction of where this scene was going to go? With her coming back so immediately after saying, I'm never coming back? Because I did.
I got the sense of, like, oh, well, they're clearly going to get together now.
Ah. This is where my head was at.
Let's
She
listen to
walked
Ryan.
in and I thought, oh, I've seen this movie before, so I forgot. I went, oh, she's hitting on him, but she only just left, and I did the quest quick. That sounds like a pretty suspicious thing to say. Like, she did one whole quest in less than a day and came all the way back. I thought it was Lazar doing a shapeshifter thing, because we've already seen him do that.
Yeah.
And I thought, ooh, and then maybe as like a final Kappa joke, he kisses her for... It would be the first time in the movie, yeah, they kiss.
And it's not
And
actually...
it cuts, and it's actually Lazar, and he leans back, and is like, you motherfucker! And he's just like, and then end credits. And it would be like a sequel bait, like this movie does as well, where it's like, we're going on an adventure to get your chastity belt off. But I guess we have to make sure that the audience knows when she was dipping in this water earlier, that was a chastity belt you saw, not just a metal G-string.
See, I think that kind
Clarification.
I think that kind of twist ending would be more of like a horror thing. Like, oh, the villain's not dead all along.
Have you heard there's this movie out now with Katherine Heigl where she's playing an evil woman, and at the end of it, with Rosario Dawson is in it, and it's like a typical boy next door type of thing, and the movie ends with like Katherine Heigl gets killed and her daughter's left in the care of Rosario Dawson and the father and all that. And the movie literally ends, and then it has like an post-credit scene in which it's like a knock on the door, and they're like, oh, who is it? Oh my god! And Rosario Dawson's like, oh my god, is it her? And they open up the door and no one's there, and they're like, oh my god! And then she turns around and then she turns back, and at the door's this old woman, and they're like, and she's like, Rosario Dawson's like, oh my god! And she's afraid, and she's like, and the old woman's like, don't worry, Grandma's here now. It's like, it's Katherine Heigl's mum in that movie. It's like, that's the sequel, mate. It's like, do you want to see the movie where the mum has a go at Rosario Dawson? I would have loved if this movie ended where he actually kisses and it's the three mums. And they're like, yeah. It's like, what would have happened then? Do you guys, before we get into reviews and ratings, would you guys watch a sequel to this?
Sure.
Because apparently in the trivia it says the sequel is not off the table because it's made a lot of money.
Well, I mean, it was a bomb, though.
Critically.
Oh, no, I thought it was...
For its very low budget, it made a lot back.
I thought it lost like 20 million, didn't it?
Oh no, far out. But
It was a box office flop, wasn't it?
oh no, it was voted the worst on the internet. But the studios have said that they still have a sequel on the table for this. I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, they said that despite the fact that it was a box office flop, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And they also kind of wanted to make a spin-off with Natalie Portman.
Yeah. Don't you love the credit sequence where it's like the pot smoke that you only saw once in the movie, by the way? I can't get over that.
I noticed also that the credits had, we passed it yet, but it had an additional voices.
Here.
Yeah, additional voices thing.
Yeah.
I was like, is that like for background people?
Yeah.
Because would those not be extras?
Yeah, the background people.
Also, I recognized two of the names in the additional voices.
Dwight Schultz, yeah.
One of them voiced the villain of Metal Gear Solid 3, Neil Ross.
Oh, good. I hate Metal Gear Solid 2. So let's go into our reviews and ratings. I'm going to go straight off the gate. Your Highness, more like yes, please us, because this film was great. It changed me as a person. I first saw it I didn't like it. Maybe it was the circumstances. Maybe this is not a film you should watch when you're celebrating the stressful time in your life being over. No, this should be a film that you watch in your free time. A film you should watch when you're in the mood. This is a mood piece movie, I think. Oh, by the way, catering was done by Tang Sandwich Excellence, by the way. I just wanted to point that out in this film.
When I was watching these credits yesterday, I think there was a different name for catering.
Far out. Could I have the Tang cut?
It was something like Really Good Foods or something.
Well,
hey,
guys,
name.
You know what's really good? This film. You need to check it out if you haven't already. And if you haven't, you just heard us talk about it, so you've kind of checked it out. But you need to go 110% buy this, because I want Michael Cera to be hanging out with James Franco. James Franco gets a notification, and Michael Cera's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Getting royalties for Your Highness. You should have been in it." And then Michael Cera smacks himself on his weird face and learns a lesson about friendship.
No, he sorts out Rihanna to go hit him.
Yeah, exactly. Green Lives here, by the way.
Until it knocks him out.
You know, and I would say that this is a fun film. It's for teens and up, not really for kids.
I think in America it would be rated R, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because of the violence.
Yeah.
But don't be a pussy. This is the kind of film that Quentin Tarantino wish he could make. He hasn't made a fantasy one yet. Maybe he will with James Franco. Who knows? I give this film as many... Wow. It's so hard to say, you know. I want to...
Can you beat Roger Ebert's 1 out of 4?
1 out of 4. I give this as much pot humor as it promised.
Did it promise a lot?
Your Highness. I don't know why this title keeps like tripping Bartek up. Like, if you see a movie called Your Highness and it's got James Franco in it, it's a promise for pot humor.
Hold on. First of all, I didn't know James Franco was in it.
You didn't know?
I only knew
we just watched it. He's in it.
No, before I watched the film.
Oh.
I only knew Danny McBride was in it.
Oh, even then.
Again,
Bartek lives in a special world.
None of us know Danny McBride that well.
Yeah, but I know him well enough to be like, oh, he's a part of that crew, and that crew like pot.
I mean, I didn't have evidence that he himself liked pot.
Well, there you go. I haven't done DNA tests on the man myself, so you're right.
But Ryan, you're obsessed with teams.
Teams?
Yeah. This team, and then you've also been talking about how there's that whole Christopher Lloyd team of like actors who first appeared in...
The Jack Nicholson team, yeah.
The Jack Nicholson team.
Adam Sandler team, yeah. And
Ryan, you know your teams.
I do know my teams.
And it's like you said, you know a lot about people in that film. This is the end, even though you haven't seen it.
I'm a genius, that's what I'm saying. Jules, let's hear your amazing review and your epic rating of your choice.
Epic.
If you don't like fantasy films or prophecy films, watch this, because you'll change your mind.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's actually pretty good.
That was actually epic.
Yeah, epic.
Even though that wasn't the rating.
For the win.
Anything else?
You
want to give your listening people?
I'll give my listening people a rating out of detachable necklace sticks.
How many?
We'll go...
Can you beat Roger Ebert's 1 out of 4?
Detachable.
3 3/4.
So it's 3 and the foreskin.
Out of 3 3/4?
Yeah.
Full marks. Great. Cool.
Yeah, that's a Harry Potter reference there.
Yay.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
You should have made it 9 3/4.
Well, can't take it back now. But
hello, I'm Bartek.
Okay, I'll say it again. Bartek.
Hello, I'm Bartek, and I'm going to be reviewing Your Highness from 2011, made by guy who makes stoner films after he made indie films.
Yep, that's correct.
I think his name's Derek. I can't remember. What is it, Ryan? What's his name?
We'll call him Harry for now.
Okay, made by Danny McBride's college roommate.
Oh yeah,
that's what they are.
Good. It shows.
This film was a great film to watch. I was also going to say that it was a great film to have on the show, but having films on this show has a level of tragedy to them, because the fact that they're on the show means that they're unappreciated in society. Yeah. So it's kind of like when there's like a death and you take something good from it. Someone still had to die. There was still a sacrifice made. I'm hoping though that it being featured on our prestigious show, it will kind of correct the mistakes that society has made in the past 6 years.
That's what we endeavour to do.
Not appreciating it, because like we've mentioned many times in this show, there are many different kinds of comedies. This is a type of comedy that kind of lacks jokes, which is something that's very prevalent in comedies that are scripted, not so prevalent in more modern comedies where things are more improvised. And as Ryan has said, and this is a term I think I can start applying now to my analyses, the situational humor, I believe you said it was? Contextual humor. It's kind of like memes, which we've kind of talked about.
Yeah, it's a meme.
No, right, in private, like, memes are running jokes, and when do you, like, what kind of logic is it to say, oh man, have you seen that recent running joke? It's kind of like a weird thing of, like,
Trump presidency.
It might be it might be funny in its context, but, like, out of context, well, why are you kind of, like, obsessing with it? Like, oh, did you hear that really good contextual joke?
No, what one was it?
Yeah, it's...
What do you meme?
Yeah. Like, even if I tell you what the contextual joke is, well, you see, there's a situation where they're in a labyrinth with a minotaur and it tries to rape them and then they cut off it. It's kind of like, you know, long-winded. So I guess it's kind of hard to recommend one of these films. And I guess that would be a reason why this film, which is so heavy with these hard to recommend contextual jokes or pieces of humor, would be deemed by the whole internet and its bystanders to be the worst film ever made.
Classic internet.
So I think it is really beneficial for people to, and I've said this before in many, many episodes, look past the on-the-surface flaws that a film might have and just appreciate it for what it does have, because what it does have can be good in certain contexts. Context is everything, and with the right context you'll realize that this film is a fantastic film, a film that you can learn from, and a film that you can sit down and enjoy in moments where you want to enjoy and love something.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you, Ryan. I am.
A film
and
where
so
you
is the film.
Don't have to get the pun in the title to understand the film.
Just like spit and polish.
It's been made completely... Oh!
Oh, I get it. It's all about pronunciation.
I get it now. No, but like, as it's been established in the show, I didn't get the pun title. I walked into this film quite blind. I hadn't seen it before. I'd only heard that it was good to some, bad to others. And I get it. I got the film. I got it by watching it. I understand what's good about it. So what does that say about me, someone who didn't get the pot joke title? I give this film the fantastic, the meticulous, and the full of love rating of, hey man, you want to come to my house and chill? You're welcome anytime.
Wow, Netflix and chilling.
I don't have Netflix.
Oh well, Stan.
But I have the internet. We can like.
I have the internet, and that's the place that said this movie sucked.
We can stream on like Putlocker or something.
No, that's illegal. Shh.
Yeah, don't tell anyone. So is pot.
No, not in America. Not in all places.
Not in all. Is it? What about Australia? Is it?
It's still illegal in Australia. So
yeah, come to my house. It's in Melbourne.
So, I've got a review here. I've got some reviews from IMDb.
And I've got comments from YouTube.
Both magical places for different reasonings.
And both are written by real people.
Or are they?
Maybe, actually. That's a good point.
I've got an 8-star review straight off the bat from 2011, and it's called Hawk the Stoner.
What?
Hawk the Stoner.
Okay. So hawk's like a verb or something?
Oh, you'll find out.
Oh, okay.
Or you won't. We'll find out.
Was it written by a bird? A mechanical
It was
bird?
written not by someone called Hawk, if that makes you feel better. Okay.
By Simon?
I watched this on DVD last night, shamefully because of what I had heard about shamefully because of what I had heard around the time of its cinema release. Well, that taught me a lesson. The only accountable reason I can arrive at all for the negative feedback I heard from critics and the public is that I feel they were expecting something a little more holy grail because of the setting and the English accents, and instead I felt this is more Blazing Saddles. Very un-PC, whilst gently goozing.
Okay.
Its chosen genre. It is immature and crude, but the laughs were consistent enough. It's a comedy notion which should usually have a B-grade budget, but has somehow been made with an A-grade budget, and for me, that was a part of its charm. It's like the slackers broke into the set of Lord of the Rings and mucked about all weekend and managed to film it. And maybe I did the right thing in retrospect. Sometimes it's better to watch something after the dust has settled. Just watch this cold and I'll bet you'd enjoy it. In years to come, I think this film will have quite a loyal following across a certain demographic, including me. And that's the end of the review. Was he right, guys? It's been a certain few years. No.
Is hawk a verb?
Yeah, never.
Is it?
You'll have to find out. Bartek, you've got comments from YouTube. Just to clarify, is this from the trailer?
It is.
YouTube's great because the
High-quality
difference between YouTube and IMDb
reviews.
is IMDb doesn't have anyone commenting back. Really, it doesn't really have anyone looking at them either. So they're a lot more formal, or a lot more in their own world. But YouTube, I feel, is a lot of people being like, "Hey, I'm saying something." Yeah, but a lot of, "Hey, listen to me, I'm saying something." Let's see what YouTube had to say about Your Highness.
Well, we start with a very sensitive comment.
I love sensitivity.
No responses. It's just,
By who? Who's the commenter?
I don't record that because I want these to be from the essence of people, not from individuals.
Humanity is being represented in these comments.
And the first comment is, I do believe my brother was molested by the wise wizard. ... Lol ... And that's the first comment from YouTube about this film.
That's a quote from the film.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't written in quotes, so that
That's a statement. Whoops.
This one tries to quote the film. Again, no quotations, but that's not the biggest problem. I will drown Courtney in a shallow fucking pound if that means far is far. Lol.
I don't know what any of that meant.
It was trying to quote the scene where Danny McBride's complaining about things being fair, about how the fact that he lost his pet. He was trying to say, I will drown Courtney in a fucking shallow pond if it means fair is fair. But they got it wrong. But that is because this is the essence of humanity. I just like saying human, but humanity's fine.
Human.
This comment has a response. The initial comment.
Oh, good.
I thought this movie was really fucking funny. It's nice that it doesn't take itself serious at all, so long as you can stand a shit load of dick jokes, you'll enjoy it. Plus, Natalie Portman is really hot. The response. This movie is great exactly because it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's an epic parody of all other movies like it. And it's so weird, it's not entirely predictable either.
Aw, that's sweet.
Mm-hmm. So that was a bit of a positive one from the essence of human.
Well, I've got an 8-star review here.
Another one.
Another 8er. This is called Funny and Uncommon. I just want to point out this is written from Brazil. No real reason to point that out, other than I just like the fact that this film touched many people in different parts of the world, and you know where Brazil is? South America, that's right.
Good country.
Yeah, I brought that back.
So just to specify, South America is the good country.
Yeah, of course, not Brazil.
Yeah.
Because that's a state. This is written in 2011, so the film also just came out. It's called Funny and Uncommon, 8 stars. It starts as such. Your Highness is so underrated, but it's totally comprehensible. The movie is a satire about medieval action and dungeon tale movies, but it's not so cheesy as ordinary satires like Scary Movie series. and among others. It has its own story with its own characters and originality and plays with cliches all the time, making the characters look pathetic when acting like heroes that needs to complete quests as in an RPG game. A satire that seems much more like Mel Brooks' classic titles. People are claiming it offensive and aggressive for the extensive use of sexual language and also for some explicit nude scenes. For sure it is. And this negative response from these people is just a reflection of the Puritan hypocrite society we live in. Because if you laugh about Eddie Murphy's nutty professor farting with his family for about 10 minutes, you aren't able to say that you, Highness, is offensive or aggressive for its verbal content. First of all, because I'm talking about a movie that seems silly and a waste of time, but in reality, it is a very intelligent and interesting one. And for sure, one of the funniest movies and the best in its satire genre that I've seen since Once Upon a Time. It's pure entertainment. The dialogues are sometimes taken from porn movie. The acting is great.
What porn movies? Give us references.
Not porn movies, just porn movie.
Is that a Friedberg and Seltzer?
Yeah, I don't know, from
epic movie?
Porn movie. That would actually be good. The acting is great. James Franco as Fabius, the charming prince, is fantastic, always happy, empowering, and in love, making his character seems that was taken from a fairy tale. Even his movements and expressions are totally inspired by everything a charming prince means and does. Danny McBride as Thaddeus is completely the opposite, the real anti-hero image, full of envy, anger, hate, and jealousy. Searching and making everything just to satisfy his very own ego, and every character is ridiculous as it should be. Also, the movie is full of action and special effects. Screenwriters Danny McBride and Ben Best did an excellent job together creating an uncommon tale based on mythologies and sex into a medieval and Puritan world. That's why it's so funny. Because you never expect so serious characters talking about sex and genitals like something simple and ordinary. Like another one said, it's not a movie for those who are easily offended, but for the ones who might get its tone will love it. And that's what Brazil had to say about it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brazil.
Bartek, did any Brazilians get onto YouTube?
Ryan, what did I say about Essence of Human?
You're right, we're all Brazilian, I'm sorry.
Deep down.
If we don't have any pubic hair, we're all Brazilian.
I just read a bunch of bad reviews of this movie and had to weigh in, so I came here.
Oh, good. That's great.
Good to know YouTube is a safe place.
I think this movie is funny as fuck, and I watch it regularly because it makes me laugh my ass off. It almost seems asinine that these type of movies even get reviewed. It's clearly not trying to take itself seriously. It is just a medium for comedy. Danny McBride is one of those naturally funny people. 4 dots. Just super funny. Fuck bad reviews. This movie is great and endlessly entertaining. And there's a response.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's also just a typical cliche copy of every other mediocre comedy movie, and medieval, spelt wrong, but medieval as in, comedy. Danny McBride is hilarious, but I'm watching it now, and I can't say I've found it that funny. I can throw Eastbound and Down on and laugh my tits off for hours, so was hoping Danny could save this, but even he doesn't seem to be able to lift it higher than a, okay, laughing done, when's the next laugh come? But let's face it, you felt you had to weigh on and give an opinion while telling people who give it a bad review to not weigh in and not have an opinion. That's called being a hypocrite.
Wow.
I must say, I'm really disappointed that they've laughed their ass off They've laughed their tits off, but they didn't laugh their dick off.
Well, those are two separate people.
Well,
one
you're
ass, one
assuming
tits.
that the fact that this is not a woman.
No, I'm more upset
They laughed
because there's a dickless man in the film.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're pussyless too.
Guys, the next comment is...
I have no dick.
No, guys, it's a serious comment. I can see why people don't like this movie. And those people can go to hell! This movie is funnier than Hitler juggling easy-bake ovens on a tricycle.
Thanks, Danny McBride. I felt like he wrote that one.
One more or what?
Yeah, one more, because that was beautiful.
Okay. Honestly, this movie was hilarious. It's one of my go-to dumb comedy movies. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and this movie definitely had its WTF moments, but overall I laughed my ass off.
Well, I have a 9-star review here, guys, called Underrated. The two separate words.
Okay.
Underrated, and it's from Norway. See? Even the Norwegians love it. It's 9 stars, and it goes as such. I guess this movie isn't for everyone. We were 3 people.
I think he's trying to say our group had 3 people.
We were 3 people. 2 guys and 1 girl. She fell asleep. But we loved it. So maybe it's a guy movie? He wrote that as a question. If you think blood, unnecessary violence, fine women, and explicit language is a good thing in a comedy, then maybe you will also enjoy this one. I think it's one of the most enjoyable and the funny of action comedies for a while.
For what?
For a while.
Whoa, what? Okay. In a while. Okay, I see.
Or for a while.
For a while.
The characters are good, great actors, and Portman is as talented as she is candy for the eye. The story is hilarious, lots of fun, lots of funny moments and absurdities, a non-stop pace. I'm really surprised it hasn't got a higher rating. I think that in time this will be considered a classic. I mean, what's not to like? An awesome movie. The only reason I didn't give it a 10 is because I'm stingy. It certainly deserves a 10. I totally recommend it, smiley face. And I want to save my last. I have one review left, and I want to save it. But YouTube, the thing about YouTube, Jules, is have you ever written a comment on YouTube before?
No.
I have. I've brought this up once, but I think you haven't either, have you?
I have.
Oh, you have?
Long ago.
Well, I've written a response comment once, and that was 3 years ago, and I still get notifications about people replying to that response comment. I was being a jerk. There was some music clip where I think it's called Tight Pants, and it's very funny. And they're filming on a green screen. Obviously, it's very, very, on purposely cheap, everything about it. And someone in the comments just wrote, I think they're filming on a green screen. Lol. And then I was like, no, they actually filmed out in the forest. It's so real. And for fucking years, I've been getting people to be like, no, dude, it's totally like a green screen. You can see the edges.
Lol.
And I write back something like, every now and then I would write back being like, really? Wow. Or something like, I made this comment years ago and I still can't tell the difference.
Gee whiz, it's so amazing.
So I just want to bring that up. But
starting off with some shorter ones, because I've got 1, 2, 3.
You got some shorties, huh?
I've got 5 families. By that I mean
families.
By that I mean families of comments, because 2 of them have responses.
Oh, good. Yeah. Do you like families of comments?
Well,
Do they each have 3 mothers?
Well, family is essence of human.
Have they done fucking?
This is better than Lord of the Rings. What's not to like?
You're right.
Very simple comment, but also very true. Lord of the Rings is objectively worse.
Yeah.
Good movie. ... Very funny. ... And Natalie Portman. Oh, it's like lowercase o, full stop, capital O. So that kind of face. Just sexy as hell, no words. ...
Yeah, they're using them.
Mm-hmm. This one has a response.
Yay!
And Ryan, I think this is the type that you were kind of alluding to when people, kind of respond.
Yay!
One of the worst movies ever made. It's a shame and such a waste. Natalie Portman is a great actress, and she played an awesome part in the film. Still, it had its moments. Response. You look like you have Down syndrome. It was a great movie. Shut up.
Oh boy.
Response. And this is a response by the guy who made the initial comment. Wrong. Asperger's syndrome.
Oh my god, get it right.
Get it right, you fucking asshole.
The second last comment, and this one has a response. The last one that has a response.
Yay.
This movie is fucking A. The jokes are not too obvious for those who needs it. Okay, I just remembered this is my favourite comment.
Oh, yay!
You have to feel the irony in the conversations and pay attention to the way they speak. In other words, ... the jokes aren't served on a dish plate. Pretty common that people don't get those kind of comedies because of that. Captain Obvious's comment is over, and now the response.
Oh, we found out the username.
Funny sarcasm, XD. The film's just constant obvious jokes, and not even jokes to be exact, just pointless comebacks you always see coming. What's funnier is that you think you're intelligent for enjoying dumb, easy-to-get comedies, lol.
Was XD meant to be a face?
It's like a lowercase x capital D, so it's like,
Oh yeah.
You know, that's
Squinty face emoji, just
And the last one. I left this one for last.
It's your favourite emoji, isn't it? Squinty face emoji. Because you went squinty face emoji.
Technically, they're emotes or emoticons.
Oh, fuck.
Anyway, I left this one.
Bullshit.
I don't know what the emoji movie is then.
I left this one for last because I just wanted to, neatly wrap up. This movie wasn't that funny, but very entertaining. ... And then in quotes, I rather enjoyed it. ... Indeed. End quote. LOL.
Well, I have a 10-star review here, guys.
Yeah.
The perfect medieval
They're not stingy.
film. The perfect medieval film. Review may contain spoilers, so, just hold on to
And
yourself.
where is this review coming from?
Toronto, Canada.
That's in Canada.
I love this movie. Danny McBride and James Franco proudly hate this movie, yet I still love this movie.
I didn't know Danny McBride.
Robin Hood Men in Tights was the last movie to properly spoof this era. Before that, The Princess Bride. I swear to God, I'm not high when I tell you this. Right up here, they were the classics. I'm not high when I tell you this right up in here, but they were the classics. How about we make this a me party and talk about how I even heard this movie even existed? I definitely didn't see a commercial in my market. Toronto, come on guys, promote! Or a poster anywhere other than the movie theater. I was listening to Howard Stern, of all people, because I accidentally turned onto his station. I haven't listened to Howard Stern since 1994, to give you some background. So I'm listening to Howard, and he goes into his review of the film, and then he gives you a link to Pirate Bay? To Pirate Bay, the review. Available here. He sold it so well. I went, I laughed. Every single scene made me laugh. The absurdity of the brothers. Danny is older? He put that as a question. The silliness of the villainous character. The fucking, but he censored himself. Like he put asterisks all over to the ening part. The recreation of the era. It really was beautiful. Zoe and Natalie doing anything at all. I love this movie. Go see this movie and have as much fun as you can. Do not bring your children. Do not bring your old parents. Do not bring Roger Ebert.
DJ that?
Enjoy.
Hey, fuck you. Bring me too. I want to see the movie.
So, guys, you guys have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful listening people. Jules, it's been great to have you on, all of you nether regions and extremities.
This movie didn't have any pterodactyls.
Don't forget my internal babushka dolls.
Yeah. That's exactly what we won't forget.
Jules, we picked this film. We picked one that didn't have any pterodactyls or pterodactyl-like imagery. Ryan, don't!
Sorry, Jules has an extreme fear of pterodactyls, and I just opened the window and one flew in. Luckily, it went away. Jules, you can stop peeing your pants on my nice carpet now. It's been great to have you here. I'll have to wash the carpet now, but other than that...
Well, whose fault was it for letting the damn pterodactyl in?
Nature. So, Bartek, been wonderful to be back on the show with you again. We had a bit of time off, episode off. Now we're back, spitting and polishing once again, talking about the films that need to be talked about.
Yes.
Thank you. So you guys have been great. If you want to help support us, you can share us around or like us. We Spit and Polish Presents. You can type that in. You'll find us on iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, Podbean, on a whole bunch of things. So
recommend us to people. You write reviews.
You can threaten people with us.
Give us feedback.
If you've been a bad boy, Harry, you're gonna have to listen to their episode on Pan. Oh fuck! No, Mom, no!
Anything but Pan.
Or it's like you're having
Pan had a good quiz in it.
Yeah. Or if you're having a bad night, you want to cheer yourself up. Well, you can masturbate to us if you want. I don't know. You can do whatever you want.
I recommend Flipper.
To do that, or Black Annie, Blanny, because that's a musical. So you guys have been great. Until next time, remember to be kind to each other.
And I'm sorry for doing this voice so much.
See, it sounds different now. You sound like you're doing your Kermit voice.
Oh, this is my Kermit.
See, there's no difference. Before, when you were doing it, you sounded more like you're like, I don't know, it sounded different.
Oh, like this.
Yeah, little.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, everyone. I will write a speech. I will read the speech out, and you know what? We might even record it and put it online. Online, that's where they said that this movie was the worst one ever made.
Damn you, Internet!
Fuck you, Internet.